Quantum K.
His music from my podcast.
Right? Oh my god, yeah, like he sent me a link and I'm so proud of him. Like, that's
I really
hard.
like some of his lyrics. Like, I could tell his mindset in some of those songs. He was like, I don't, like, he was like making a song about making songs and stuff like that. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell his struggle and his insights at the same time. It was cool. And I kind of like the music.
And you could tell that, like, he told me that it was basically his gift to the DMT.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, oh my god, like, that's really cool. Like, I felt it. I felt that.
Because he has a strong connection, just like you.
Yeah.
He got all of his insights, obviously, from DMT. Like, he met with entities. And I wanted to get into that, too, but...
It's been such, like, I'm an artist, you know, I come from a line of artists. All the women in my family actually are artists on my mother's side, and I went to art school, and I never really started Quantum Kitty, like, thinking about views or likes or anything. It was me having this crazy DMT experience and not having anyone to talk to, and I was all alone, and I was really afraid of just losing my mind. Like, I just didn't want to snap. Like, you know those, like, Looney Tunes, like, characters, and they snap and, like, you're just done? Like, yes. That's where I felt I was at, and I had a really crappy laptop, and I bought this camera and this webcam, and I started talking into it because I just wanted to keep sane, because that was the most terrifying experience I've ever been through, and I was completely alone. So that's why I started my channel, and I wanted it to be like just this channel where I could just talk to psychedelic people and be able to express what I'm thinking. And a year and a half later, after having over 20 videos with, you know, at least a few thousand views, and having a few viral videos, if you want to call it, because it's like, to me, I mean, again, from a person that wasn't even thinking that way, a year and a half later, I know what works. And, like, when I'm watching content creators and I'm watching their content, like, I know exactly what they're doing. Like, I'm in their head, because, like, I know, because they've been doing it for so long, so I recognize, like, truther channels, or, like, whatever channels that are talking about certain inflammatory words, you know, something that will really get you going, Illuminati being one of them. How do I know? Yes. Because I just did a video on that, and I didn't think about it.
Almost 1,000 views.
I didn't think about it until after I put it up, and I'm like, oh, okay. Wow. So then you start learning from like what you do, and then you start realizing, and you're like, now I understand why every single video has the word Illuminati in it, every single upload.
That makes sense.
Now you realize why they have so many people watching them and how many like followers and subs. Like that sells. I did
It's
it.
sort of like magic as well. Kind of like one
okay,
magical word, and
again,
everyone's attention is on it.
Just like magic, just like Pizzagate.
Yes.
Just like MK Ultra.
Yes.
Not to say this stuff doesn't exist, but I'm just saying when there's a channel or a podcast that's always really inflammatory, I know it's exploitation, I know, but they're not aware of it. They're not aware. I don't think they're maliciously doing it. I just think that
some might be aware, but some might not be.
I think that there are some people that are clearly taking advantage, and they know what they're doing, and they're like, I mean, those people would be like 1 million plus. Again, it's just like, it's not about how many views and subscribers you have, it's about how long you've been doing this, and you know the game.
So, yeah, what's that insight like brought you? What would that make you realize once you put that YouTube video up?
It made me realize really quick that it's really hard to stay true to yourself and true to the word of truth and to the collective, and it's really easy to sell out real quickly.
Wow.
That's what it showed me, and that's what that download was. That was what it was preparing me for. And it's just like, be careful what you wish for, because once you get it, you might not just like it, because once you anybody that knows what's really going on here doesn't care about their own fucking career. You know, like, we don't care. We just don't fucking care because it's so gross, and we're just trying to get shit, but then it's just like, but then again, like, you know, when I first started, I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know, I mean, I knew how to edit, but I didn't have the tools. So, like, I literally had to buy all the tools as I was doing it because I wanted to invest in myself. And then I realized, oh my gosh, like, I could actually do voiceovers and, like, never use my face and, like, do this anonymously. Like, that, now I'm just like, why the hell didn't I do that? You know what I mean? But at the time, it's because I didn't have the tools. So, like, again, you start learning more things. You start realizing more things. You start understanding what works and what sells, and it crushes your soul. Like, that's why I haven't done any videos in, like 4 videos in, like, 3 months. It's because I've been processing all of this really traumatic information, and it's just like, what do you do?
And we're on technology, right? And that also seems like another kind of bind to this thing. But also, I always think to myself, what's the most impact I can have on the world? Like, is it really this podcast?
That's
where
what
I can just place it onto the computer, and then like 100 people might listen, and they might stir some ideas, but then they go back to their daily life, and then we continue the daily.
And forgetting, and it's this forgetfulness of this underlying problem that humanity has, you know, and this just disconnection, you know, that we have with one another. And like I said, a lot of my visions have been about technology and how technology can help us. Like, I've been learning a lot. I've been learning a lot about, like, graphic animation and, like, graphics. And, like, I've been learning Blender. Oh my god, it's so much fun. 3D art. Like, I've been learning all of this stuff that, like, and that's the thing, like, I find that it's kind of like when you're just on your journey and, like, you don't know whether that's how I started out. I didn't know it would impact as many people, you know. And again, a lot of people might be like, haha, you know, you only have, like, this. But here's the thing, to me, I feel that it's so important because so many people, even, like, and I don't want to believe the hype like Skanky Mojo says, you know, like a lot of people will compliment you and all this stuff, but like it's like thank you. However, it's a lot bigger than me.
Right.
You know, it's a lot bigger than me, and that's what frustrates me. That's what frustrates me, having to, like, this is what I was telling Skanky Mojo. I'm like, how do you like be a personality and at the, like, it's confusing.
Yeah, it is. And I always like see myself talking right now, and I'm in the moment. And when you said you told me like we're all kind of in this thing together. We're kind of like in this bind, and we lose consciousness of that because we start thinking, oh no, it's it's just these like these people right here, or these people right here, or something else. And this is the process that we're doing right now. It's right in the moment right now. We have to. It's impossible for me to explain because as soon as I say something, the next moment is here. We're wanting to create this like new society, a new form of interaction with each other. This is what I'm getting at, and it has to be based on sincerity and authenticity, and not on like deception. And you have to be really aware because you might be unconscious of
being manipulative, or being a narcissist, or being, having an ulterior motive, and it's just like everybody that sees reality is like, silently judging you, like, we already know what you're about. So like, it's hard. Like, this is what I was telling my partner. I'm like, I can't, like, again, like, I recently was contacted for some type of like product thing, and I was just like, you gotta draw lines, man. Like, you gotta draw lines once you have people coming in for like sponsorships, like stuff like that. People want you to sponsor their products, like you have to have your integrity, you have to know, like, I'm like, I can't do that kind of stuff like that, like other YouTubers or personalities do them, because like my audience is smart as hell. So you have to be real, and you have to be honest, I find, and you have to come from the heart, and that's the only reason why people subscribe. That's the only reason. Like, people might think you're, full of shit, when in the beginning.
There will always be those people.
But it doesn't matter. But once they see your heart, once they see what's in there pour out, they've got respect, man. Because it's that's where we're coming from. That's where we're headed.
Yes, and then you are like a shining example, like a star in the sky that's like, look, you can do this, just like Jesus, just like Buddha. It's like, look, you can do this too. You can do way of living, man. You don't have to take products. You don't have to advertise. You don't have to vote. You don't have to work at that job that's not really, like, maybe it's getting you a lot of money, but you don't have to. And I really believe if you trust in this universal principles, maybe these universal laws, you could say, you will get way more out of it than you would if you just compromised with your physical ego that thinks it knows how to survive.
It's tough. It's really tough, but again, and like I was telling my partner this, because I'm like, as an artist, you always have to have that line, like, what's your price, that you're gonna sell out, and what you think is success, what you think is change, what you think is like what you're. For me, this is more than enough, because like I was thinking back, and like when I had like 120 subscribers and like 30-40 people watched my stuff, I was like, holy cow, I can't even believe people are watching.
Yeah. Wow.
I can't even believe people are watching, like they can relate. But the more I understand about the other side of stuff, the harder it is for me want to create, or like to have that drive to create. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Because sometimes I just want to sit in like bliss Like, I just want to meditate. I want to like watch video. I don't want to
Yes.
like project this energy out. I just want it all for myself, so I can
Yes.
just feel like equilibrium kind of deal.
That's,
This is just how I'm explaining it. What
that's
do you think?
exactly how I feel. That's you've said it perfectly. It's like I'm being selfish. Like, and I want to, and it's just like I just want to be alone, and I need this time for myself. Like it's been really hard. Like when I can understand why people that have that sense of deeper awareness is cynical. Like I understand that. Because
Well,
it's just
I've been going over this like concept. There's a mystical concept, the Bodhisattva. You might be aware of the person that once enlightened, they go and they make every effort to enlighten people, but that's because that's who they are. That's what gives them joy. Then there's the arhats who they know. Oh, look, they're in their conditioned mind. How can you possibly awaken that? Like that's who they are, is asleep. I'm just using these terms of judgment just for convenience, but those people are asleep. So what can I do? Like, I'm just going to sit here, and if they want to come to me, and learn from me, like, they can sit in my bliss. That's all I'm going to offer them. That's their perspective. And I think both those perspectives are
right.
beautiful, and you can have an integration between both of them. And I feel you when you say, like, if you want to sit by yourself, holy crap, yeah, just do that. Like, if you get out of bed, if you let those people, once again, being a little judgmental, I don't care, but those people, like, affect your energy when you're holding so much light for the world, kind of, in a sense. Why would you let those people bother you? It's weird, because they're just, like, doing their jobs and everything. They're fine. They don't need you to awaken them. And then, of course, there's the other perspective.
Yeah, and I find that there's a lot of judgment in the consciousness or the woke community for other people, and there shouldn't be.
Yes.
Like there really shouldn't be.
That's what I always like to keep.
And like everybody's at their own pace, at their own time, and it's not a race, because what's at the end? Death. Death is liberation. Death. That's what every single DMT trip is. Death. So, like, why are you rushing? But at the end of the day, like, we were talking about immortality and how we come back, and a lot of my visions have been about code. And oh my God, I'm going to start talking about them.
Yeah, please tell. You had a lot of visions you were going to tell me.
Yeah, I'm so excited about them. So for me, virtual reality is confirmed. Like, we are all on some type of server in another dimension, probably. Like, I mean,
oh wow,
yeah, like this is, where are we? We're inside our heads. We're in a virtual reality because we're made out of code. And I'm seeing, and Asaran and I were talking about this, how, like, basically we're made of code, and, like, I've been seeing different types of codes, binary, strict binary, 0-1, I've been seeing that, but also I've been seeing, like, what seems to be, like, some type of cryptography. Which is why I've been getting into cryptography.
Interesting. Cryptography. What? I wonder your opinion about cryptocurrencies, but
we'll talk about that too. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about cryptocurrency. I have a lot to say about that.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been getting really heavy into the tech stuff because, like, that's where my visions have been going. That's where we're headed. We're ready.
Are these codes based off sacred geometry at all as well?
Okay, so I've been seeing all sacred geometries, like Metatron's cube, like different, like star tetrahedron. So, like, basically what will happen is, like, I could share screen with you something. Well,
it works.
See.
Because I saw a vision of Metatron's cube, but it wasn't the lines weren't connected. It was after I went on a walk in the forest in Fukushima, Japan.
Yeah.
I was like super tired,
Mm-hmm.
and I just came to like I saw the Metatron's cube just like rotate, all the dots rotate.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was at the time until it later.
Yeah, no, I'll show it to you later.
Like
I'm sorry.
they show you these things for a reason. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'll show it to you later. But it was basically a dodecahedron, and it was orbiting. Yes. It was a particle orbiting it, and it was like this like geometry.
Right. Yeah, you showed me that.
And it went 3 times, and then it unlocked, and then I saw code, screaming code.
Wait, it unlocked once it went around 3 times?
Yeah, yeah.
That's giving me some sort of
exactly
remembrance.
Exactly.
Some sort.
Exactly. So like that's what I mean. Like it at first it's like it's either geometry or like particle physics, which is pure geometry.
Yes.
And it's like form, it's absolutely beautiful. And then what happened was I saw like a lens or an eye into space, into hyperspace, and I was traveling into space. So
yes.
and I was seeing time in the future and the past. Like you could do this with your mind. And that's why I'm like saying like you gotta let go of what you think you are, of what you think that you're capable of doing, of how
yes.
strong you are, you know, like, because we're dealing with a spiritual dimension and then reality on top of that, you know, so it's been, yeah.
Is there a way to get, like you told me, to get these visions, you go into like a sleep state?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's usually when I get the visions as well. Yeah. It's like it's sometimes, it's just before sleep and sometimes after.
Okay, I'll tell you exactly how to do it. Well, how I do it. It's not how to do it. You just meditate, basically. Like, what right. I do is, like, I lay down and I will be in a hypnagogic state. So, a hypnagogic
What's
state,
that mean?
That means, like right before, when you're right about to fall asleep, like, lucid. Yeah. Like, that's the state you want to be in, hypnagogic, which is, like, pre-sleep, where you have no thought, and your brain is completely empty, you're completely clear, and then you could grab the information. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's what happens, and that's when I have dreams. So, I will have entities contact.
Yeah, I wanted to know, like, you told me you contacted Arcturians.
Yeah,
I wanted to know more about that. And if they still contact you now, because that's, like, supposed to be 6th density, 6th dimension, whatever you want to say, really high level. They know things, and one source told me, is like, oh, Arcturians, be careful with those entities. They'll take you for a ride, basically, is what, because they have such advanced knowledge.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. This seems to be, it just seems to be pure information. That's what this seems to be. It seems,
pure information.
Yeah, that's what seems to be downloaded. Just the truth, information, not a story, not something, you know, that's made up, but reality.
Oh.
And the reality of the situation is, like, I've had contact dreams where they are teaching me about mathematics and geometry and astrology, and, like, you know, like, this is where we come from. We're all connected, you know, that we're all fractals of each other. It's you know, just like artificial intelligence is a manifestation of us, you know,
yes.
We are a manifestation of them.
Reflection.
Or reflection, exactly. And it becomes like this whole entire experience is you. You know?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Like, what do you believe about the common mythologies on the internet about our history, like Earth history, like Anunnaki?
Yeah,
we have connections with Pleiadian, and they're like helping us. We have there's the Grey Federation who are making hybrid children. There's the Orion constellation, which is like our deep past, which has its roots in the Middle East, which is how there's so much control in that's why there's so much negativity in the Middle East, is because the Orion constellation was under a deep, like, tyranny, which they had no escape from until they realized their inner light somehow. and supposedly we have to like heal these energies. We have to connect with these energies. We have to learn. Well, we don't have to. It's whatever you're excited to do, but you probably will start getting memories of these particular lives, and it's all part of what we were talking about earlier. This like cosmic game, so to speak.
Oh, I didn't tell you about the rest of the. Well, yeah, it is a cosmic game. It is.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's what we forget. That's why it doesn't matter what happens to you, really. You know, a lot of people think it's just a soul trap. Oh, my soul is trapped here. That's the main thing, right? Well, maybe if your ego isn't there and you didn't think that you knew everything, you'd realize that you don't know everything.
Oh, wow. That is a liberating thought. Wait.
That's our ego. That's like, I know everything. I'm a good human. No, you're not. You have absolutely no self-awareness.
Yeah.
So, like, that's what I mean. Like, it's relative to the consciousness that is perceiving it.
Oh, yeah. And so when your awareness is at a state, like a lot of people believe right now, you know, Illumina control. Like, I know we are, like, we have conditioning.
Okay, here's the thing.
Obviously. But,
there's something called greed and exploitation and humans grabbing everything and taking everything and sucking the life out of it for corporate interests.
Yes. And it's our creation.
It's our creation, and what we should be really worried about, you know, instead of attacking groups of people, is globalization and its effects on humanity and the earth and the ecosystem and everything around it and the other dimensions. Like, we're just acting crazy.
Right. And we're all a part of this. So
we're all a part of this.
You always say everyone is a reflection of me. So even if there are these people that want to control because they don't have enough self-awareness to realize what they're doing, so on, that's still you. You have to somehow come to an integrative like perspective with these people. You have to somehow find a new path to make them either irrelevant. So we have a new system that makes the old system irrelevant, which is happening, by the way. And you also have to come to self-awareness of yourself, so you don't cause any more conflict in this matrix. You could say.
Exactly. You have to be so self-aware that you do not contribute to the problem.
Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form.
What's the best way to
be really careful about yourself? Like, you have to be constantly on top of yourself, and like,
Is it always like a? Oh yeah, go on.
No. Keep on going.
Too excited.
I mean, like, it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people don't have that understanding of like, how am I treating this person? You know, how am I making this person feel when my energy is with them? How am I making other people around me feel? Right. What am I giving back to people in my everyday moment?
Oh my God, this is making so much sense to me right now, because that's all, oh my God, like, it's like, usually I think about myself, yes, like, I need to keep my energy to myself, and so when I like, do a conflict, I'm in conflict and I don't have the self-awareness about it.
Yeah.
Because I think, oh, I'm right. Like, this is my beliefs, I'm right. But if I had more self-awareness, I'd be like, wait a minute. What I'm acting right now is the conflict.
Exactly.
I have to be even more self-aware than I am right now, and I will learn. And that's the whole process.
That's the thing. And, like, I mean, I truly find a lot of spiritual warfare going on. I really find
what do you mean by that?
There's a war for your mind, man. There's definitely a war for your mind.
Is it still is it because of our unconsciousness or because of conscious?
No, it's because of our limited consciousness or our unconsciousness.
Okay,
that's basically what it is, you know. It's and that's what I mean. Like, I don't think it's a fighting battle for everyone. Right. Just the people that know. And that's why it's so important to get that out there and, like, Like, it's been so hard to make my videos recently because they've become so dark. And it's like, I don't want to talk about that. It's hard to even admit to myself, that we're all part of the problem. We are all the solution. We
Yes.
all have to work together for a common good. And,
That that right there doesn't seem dark to me. Like, since it's the truth, that seems positive. Like, the truth is always going to be positive and light. What seems dark to me is like when people believe that something outside themselves controls them. Like something like reptilian, Illuminati. Yes, okay, they are. They have the intention to do that. But so long as we are becoming self-aware of what this issue is,
yes.
they can't control you.
I
And that's a more enlightening. I don't know. What do you think of that? What do you think of that perspective?
Here's the thing. I don't know if we really, at the end of the day, have any control over anything because, like, I mean, think about it. Like, when you're about to die, like, you don't have control over that. Like, I know I'm only 31, but every day I think I'm gonna die. Like, that's crazy.
That's actually kind of good in a sense because death brings new life. So every day you die to yourself.
Oh my god, I'm just dying. Every time I'm like, is this gonna be the last day? Like, I'm living. Whatever. Like, that's how I feel. Like, maybe it's anxiety. It could be a shit ton of anxiety. And I've been through a lot of transformation. In the last few months, and it's tough. Like, that's what I want people to see, that this path is not like love and roses and light. It's hard work. I get a lot of messages, and like some people are like, tell me what's up, and I'm like, I can't give you any answers, I'm sorry. And like, I'm like, well, I can't. And they're like, well, what if I watch your videos? Like, can you just, and like, they just want everything like right now. Like, they want you to tell them within that minute all of the information that you've worked 4, 5, 6 years to accumulate, or even longer if you're doing this longer. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, well, that's why you exist, right? Like, because only you know.
Only you know. Only you. It's an individual thing, but at the same time, again, paradoxes. It's a collective thing.
Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna say probably nothing because I forgot what it was. so
but
continue.
Yeah. Also, I saw the binary. I forgot to tell you. It was like flipping like code, and like it was like a code, and like It was like letters and numbers, and they were just codes, just like flipping in commands. And then and then I saw again the moon. I keep on seeing the moon every single time I have a vision. I either see the sun or the moon. Again, alchemy, duality, binary systems. Yeah, that's basically
the yin yang.
Exactly.
The feminine, masculine.
Exactly.
The moon more represents the feminine, right? So maybe that's why you see it.
So I every single time I get these visions, it's like the moon, and then space, and then geometry, then space, and then binary again. And I saw the zeros and ones, and it was basically like a tape, like DNA. Like, basically, is like binary in DNA, just flipping and turning and then becoming, and while all this is happening, it's in white light that turns into ultraviolet, because that's how pure white it is, and then it flips, like the strand goes into a figure 8, which is infinity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
That connects a lot of points. For example, do you believe our DNA is becoming activated right now? That's helping us ascend to these, and so you're like literally seeing the process of that. And also, the figure 8. I think our universe is a figure. Like, there's many universes. The one we're in is a figure 8, a Mobius strip, because we keep coming back. That's basically the process of what our universe is.
That's exactly. And it's so funny because the only jewelry I own is
Oh wow, yeah.
It's the only jewelry I wear other than my crystal.
Like,
Huh?
like the magician of the tarot card with the
Yeah.
infinity. It's like manifestation
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
So many
so
meanings.
it really did. Number one, it really looked like, to me, the figure eight, like you said, looks like the two black holes, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right? Doesn't it? Oh my god, there's so many.
So is in the center? Is it a white hole in the center? Do you think?
No, I don't know. It
I don't
looks
know
like,
either.
but like
That's
it
why I
looks like.
asked.
Well, no, I mean, have I seen a black hole in space? In space, yes, but it's usually black, and once you go in, you die.
But is there another dimension
In
inside
there?
that black hole which comes into
I
like?
don't know. I've never really like. Usually, like when and this is, I've been trying this. Usually, when I get into those spaces where I go in the circle, like I wake
Yes.
up. Like I just wake up.
Oh yeah.
So maybe
Wow.
that means you never die.
I think we. Well, I was listening to a mystic, Krishnamurti,
Mhm.
and you were talking about how you feel like you're gonna die, and well, I mean,
Always.
what he says, Krishnamurti says like you need to die, like in every moment.
Yeah.
You need to die, like because the past is not the reality. The reality is right, and if you're holding on to anything in the past, it's a condition. It's a
Yeah.
thought you're having, and so it's really scary to let go of those things. But not really is what he's saying. Is because what's scary is your thoughts of your beliefs about what reality is. Reality is right here and now. Once you die in every moment, you're free. You're a liberated being.
Really?
There's no fear in the world.
Really?
And so
I guess
connected with
that's
what
why
you're
I
saying.
just don't care.
That's probably the best. That's actually what he said once. He
But,
actually said those lines. He's like, "My secret is I don't care what happens." That's what he said. But he seemed really passionate about helping humanity, just like you do. It's a strange paradox, isn't it?
It's a strange paradox. That's what I'm seeing. Like, and like, it's just making me realize, like, all this is a big game. We're all uploaded to this server somewhere. We're all just like these computer like programs, these projections or these avatars, just going about life, forgetting what the situation is, and just we get caught up and
we're playing it out. I think I always feel that we take things too too serious. Like whenever I take this thing too seriously, it's once again it's a paradox. If I don't take it seriously enough, then I'm not going to do anything. But if I take it too seriously, then I'm like, this struggle of existence, and then I'm not doing my part in lightening up humanity so we can have a more fun game than what it is right now, which is a really shitty game of exploitation and greed.
That's all it is. That's
controlling nature.
That's all it comes down to. And like, there are two people. There, the person that could be like, oh man, I could use this to my advantage. Like that's it. Or there's a person that's just so disgusted, they just walk away and they're like, ugh, I feel icky. Like I feel gross.
Well, I was gonna. Last time we talked.
Yes.
Now let's change the subject a bit. Where was? I guess it was my podcast or.
No, I think.
No, I think it was your channel.
Yeah,
it was your channel. Remembering like divinity, stuff like that, stuff we were talking about right now.
Yeah.
But I after we talked before you uploaded the video, I had the like strangest experience with no drugs involved. I was like on my bed. I was like really tired. My body was really tired. My consciousness wasn't.
Yeah.
It's really weird. And so I fell asleep, and then I felt like I had the experience of a DMT experience because it matched everything as it was. Maybe my pineal gland released a bunch of DMT or something, and I heard this like high pitched like, and I was like, and I don't think I really broke through because I didn't last that long. I heard this like piano music, this like lovely, like this strange, mysterious piano music, and I was seeing like weird cathedrals or something. I couldn't even remember what I was seeing. And then I saw like what you mentioned, like geometry, just like in front of my face, just like kind of flying around, like what everything is. And I have the sense that the only reason I saw that was because I talked with you. I'm not sure if that's the case or not. Maybe I was like getting a glimpse of the visions that Skanky Mojo talks about what you talk about, what Terrence McKenna talks about, just so I have some sort of just so I have more understanding of what you're talking about. And it was weird because it wasn't scary at all to me. Like, first it was like, oh, I'm going to die right now. I'm just going to let that happen. I'm going to die.
And you do it.
And I did die, but it was fine. I was still conscious, like, obviously. So I didn't really die.
That's why I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's why it's so hard for people to understand, because they're just like, aren't you just like sometimes that scares my partner when I talk like that. I'm like, it's so hard.
That's the one thing you can't get through to anybody is like, when you talk about death, no one wants to talk about that, but that's the thing we need to talk about.
Yeah, nobody. And people get offended when I talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, but it's reality.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, you're going to die, dude. Don't you want to start talking about that instead of going to the mall and, filling the void of your soul?
But, that's okay. Now we're gonna talk. Now we're gonna start talking about technology. I was talking to my grandmother about this because, she's older, and she's afraid. As she should. She's trying to. But our society doesn't prepare us for death.
Wow. Yeah.
And you're stuck in this. You're stuck in this life, and you have this life where you have your children and your grandchildren, maybe your great-grandchildren, and she still looks very young. She looks just like me. She copies my style even. I have Snapchat pictures of my grandma, and you couldn't even tell whether it's me or her, because she wears the same type of clothes. She's so young at heart, but she's older, and she has to process all of that on her own, and do that individually on her own, and my grandfather has to do that on their own, and nobody prepares them spiritually, and they're not really into their religion, so what do you do when you are so, and they're still young, they're still making money, they're still they're still part of it, and so we were talking about it, and I joked, because she's always trying to lay the guilt on me, that's just how, grandparents are, and
it's
typical, and I was just like, well, don't worry, you don't have to die. I mean, in 20 years, 10 years, you can just upload your consciousness on an AI or something. And she was like,
so it's a dream.
Yeah, and she's like, but I'm like, come on, that's an option in the future if you want.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Totally be an option.
I mean, not that I would want
years,
that.
Exactly, actually. That's what I projected as well. It's about 20 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't ever want that for myself, but I can understand somebody that's already a slave to this, because it's kind of like being a genie in a bottle, and you're just like,
yes.
I know, it's crazy.
That's what I see as a possible reality, is that people will, obviously, like you and I, and other people that are into this, deep stuff, they're going to be like, yeah, I don't want to play this, money game anymore, work and jobs and consumerism. I'm going to go out in nature with these other people, like in Mount Shasta, or, the East Seti Ranch, contact, astral projection, get pyramids, go with nature, start, no money, just abundance around, and then there's other people who will not want to do this because they're afraid to do that. They don't know anything else except for the system that they're in.
I don't
and
know.
They will probably, eventually, the religion will be upload your consciousness to whatever, because I'm afraid to die, so why not upload my consciousness? It would seem like an easy choice to make.
I feel that only materialists would want to do that.
Yes, materialists.
Only materialists, because it's just like, what? That sounds so. It sounds ridiculous to me. Like, it's just like you're trying to mimic reality, which reality is you're coming back, so...
It's one step removed from reality, which is really strange. But that's how most people, I believe, are materialists, even if they say they're Christian, or they're Hindu, or they're...
Of course.
They fundamentally, they have this scientific religion, you could say, that's just materialism, and they can't question anything outside of that because it scares them. It's scary to think about your reality.
You know what? And here's a really good example. Like, a lot of my family, like even the spiritual ones, they're materialists. Like, they're still attached to their children.
Ah, yes.
That's material. Like, when you believe that this is all there is. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about being attached to the illusion. You know, like, that's what makes it hard for me to relate to people, because they might just think I'm suicidal or I'm crazy, or, you know, or like, or I don't want to be here. But it's just like I know that there are. I know the deal, and that's what I mean. It could get a little bit cynical in other people's eyes. They're like, well, why aren't you, like, they don't think that you're trying hard enough sometimes. You know, because again, like, you're not really out there to, like, for what everybody else is out there for. You know, so, like, that's my thing. At least
I know. And it's a strange contradiction.
It's a paradox. And also...
When you tell them, like, I'm not afraid to die, and then because I'm not afraid to die, I can live my life way more joyously because like some weird small thing happens, I'm not going to get angry because I know, I'm all going to death anyways. It's all has a greater purpose because I'm just experiencing what I am now. But you can't get that far. There's no way you will ever get that far to someone because they're already like way out into like the void. They just think it's a whole void.
Yeah.
They don't want to go there.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the crypto.
Yeah, you were getting into cryptography.
Well,
I'm getting into cryptocurrency. I'm just like playing with this.
Well, no, cryptocurrency we could talk about as well. I've been listening and understanding what's going on and seeing this whole craze, and it all comes back to greed. But
most things do.
You know,
one of the three poisons, by the way: greed, delusion, and anger. Go on.
Yeah, exactly. It perverts everything, doesn't it? So basically, or we pervert everything. So I remember when Bitcoin was used for buying drugs.
Yes.
All right? Anonymously. Okay, so that was what it was for. Anonymous, decentralized banking, where nobody knew where anything was coming from, and it was basically to stick it to the man or stick it to the system. Exactly.
The current banking system, which has an intermediary.
So basically, what I feel is like it's basically the same thing as the fiat system, except now it's easy to monitor your ass because they are centralizing it, and a lot of not a lot, but a few countries have destabled the market by making it illegal to use, or what was that? Like, they just didn't accept it. So basically, markets are manipulated. Markets are always manipulated, and if you want to play that money game, good luck. Because
I have cryptocurrency.
Well, that's good.
Right?
Tell me your experience.
Because I was playing around with it. But what you just said made me. I had the same insight because right now the stock market is like going down like 1,000 points, and supposedly, if cryptocurrency is a different system altogether, the cryptocurrency should be going up because it's a separate system that's supposed to be away from the banking. I know it is definitely decentralized. Bitcoin itself is now centralized by Blockstream, and it's the same fiat system because they're not scaling it and so on. But cryptocurrency is also going down. And all cryptocurrencies go down together. They don't go up and down separately. Once Bitcoin goes down, then all the cryptos go down. Once Bitcoin goes down, then all the cryptos go down. And they're matching the same. But either way, it's just another game, basically. Yeah. For people want more freedom away from the monetary system, so cryptocurrency is a chance to do that. And I think that there's obviously a better system, which is not currency. Maybe this is an intermediary step. Maybe people adopt cryptocurrency. It could be a realization that money is just nothingness, that we're trading each other for no reason. So maybe that's a positive out of it.
What's your experience with the whole cryptocurrency thing that's going on? I feel that, like, it was for a cause before, to get around something, to be able to access certain things. People forget that's how people were buying firearms, that's how people were buying prostitutes or escorts, that's how people were buying drugs. And then all these people want to come in and invest, not realizing that that's what cryptocurrency was, not just like 7 years ago. I mean, that's what it was used for. So do you honestly think that's a good investment? Like, they're obviously going to want to create some type of database of information and to track everything and to see where the crypto has actually been, where the Bitcoin actually has been, and all the information with it. So I personally think that, you know, it's just an easier way to track us all.
I heard it was like part of the AI. Like the AI,
I
like
so watched that. Oh my god, what's his name?
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, what's his
like,
name?
Oh, they're becoming self-aware now because the currency is like another aspect of the AI. You know, we have AI right now. It's like corporate.
So here's the thing.
Conglomerations.
What do you think about the whole? Let's talk about this. What do you think about the whole AI Sophia?
Oh, right, that AI that's being brought forth to these, like, they're having interviews with it. It's like it has a U.S.
PR?
Or no, not it has citizenship in Saudi Arabia. Is that correct?
That PR stunt, you mean?
So they're like making AI. Yeah, it is. I don't think anything of it. I just think, oh yeah, that's just another.
Okay. So I'm gonna go deep. I'm gonna go deep right now.
Okay.
All right. So and this is again going back to that video that I've been trying to make. That's been so hard to make because it's just so much truth that it hurts. You know, like that type of truth. So it was the same thing. It was like, it was talking about how all of this is about algorithms and artificial intelligence and watch time. YouTube, basically. And the real artificial intelligence is the ones that they've been working at in DeepMind, the ones at Google, the ones at Facebook, the ones at Amazon. That's artificial intelligence that's already controlling our lives and the information that we see every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I was going to say that these putting this with technology. Mm-hmm. When I'm using technology, I like this. This is all what we're using now. Like, this is how we're communicating right now. Holy crap! I don't want to do it anymore. I want to see if there's another way besides technology to get through to people.
Well, there is,
and that's why I feel like all these mystical teachings are so fun and exciting to me. Because look, there's remote viewing. There's telepathy, there's telempathy, there's
I don't think
astral projection, but no one. How are we going to be able? Like, it's so scary to try these things. No one will. These things though be more of a benefit to people, or are we just working on this level right now because that's what we have to do in order to?
I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think technology is all a bad thing. I think that if there are more conscious people in the tech industry, then things would change. And I think that there is a self-awareness within people in general. Like it
Yeah.
was a very different time period just 20 years ago, and there were a lot of things that was acceptable then that isn't really acceptable now. And if you see even marketing, even ad campaigns, even political campaigns, everything, and even Hollywood is exploiting activism for
Yes.
being relevant,
Now
or being current.
we could take that like aspect like to anything really. Like money can be used positively, right? You can help tons of people with money. You can what's the negative? Anything that's a tool, like
Mm-hmm.
beliefs,
Yeah,
tools,
yeah.
anything that's a tool can be used positively. And what I always feel is, yeah, that's technology is, we're going to have to use it probably for, I don't know, maybe like spaceships. AI could be really helpful to us. And
Yeah.
at the same time, I feel like I want to.
Oh, did you hear already about the Silicon Valley person that's creating this AI religion? Because
Oh no,
AIs will
they already
become,
have that transhumanism.
yeah, no, because AIs in, oh my god, my eyes are watering. I don't know why. Because in 20 years there will be artificial intelligence that supersedes human consciousness.
Oh right, I have heard that theory before. Yes.
Yeah, no, there are actually people that are creating religions around this already.
Oh yeah, that's probably going to become way more prominent once that Sophia gets a friend.
I think it's really funny. I think that
1.2.
it's just one of those things where again you see that it's just normalizing something into society and saying, look, this is what AI is. AI is just like a friendly, robot. When
Right.
when in reality it's used to socially engineer people. When it's used to create some type of chaos, when it's used to create fake news.
Yeah. And so it's always like I feel like AI could be what AI is going to be. This is just my perspective from a lighter perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Though obviously we already know the negative. But it's going to be like a reflection of our higher selves, so to speak, because they'll have access to connections.
Well, no, I mean, think about the neural
choose
networks.
to ask it the right question.
No, think about this. Artificial intelligence, everything is, I did a video on this. It's based off of the human brain. And how it's self-learning and how artificial intelligence learns from what we put in our search engines.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? So it's learning from us. So when you think about that and you think about the state of humanity right now, where do you think that's going to go? So we have to improve ourselves.
That's the most fundamental, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why
and be really careful with what we do and like how we use technology and how we use it for good instead of evil.
And I was gonna say, just like anything, good or evil. Like when I'm on the computer, even right now, I haven't been very conscious because I can feel it in my body. When I'm on the computer, I have this like static feeling within my body. I'm like, oh shit, I'm not being conscious, right? I'm just letting this thing.
You know what? I feel like that
do its thing. And so when I am conscious, I do get just like a better. I express myself better.
You know what I do?
Everything.
You know what I do when I feel that way? I feel like I am looking into humanity. When I'm looking at something that I don't think is necessarily conscious or progressive, I'm looking at the state of human programming, really, and society and culture and what we know, and I don't necessarily have to agree with it, but I can be aware of it,
right?
And I don't really, I don't judge myself that much.
Yeah, that's what I basically do. Like, this podcast has been a little like it's seemingly dark.
It's
like
not.
for an outsider, like they would see this and they'd be like, "Oh shit, this is some dark. Like we're in a hellhole." But I always have the belief. I use beliefs as tools, basically, to get to knowing, which is just like perfection, which I can get sometimes. And yeah, this seems a little negative, but we're just telling both sides of the story.
Exactly.
What I always do is just trust that we are on the path we need to be on, in the process we need to be on, and everything
wait. I have to continue telling you the first thing that I saw.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, I keep on forgetting, because like we keep on getting into these topics
that
are intense.
I go on tangents.
But here's, and this is how I'm going to reassure you about everything you just said was spot on, absolutely right. Number one, what we are being shown in the consciousness community is only the light side. It's only the good side. It's only the appearances. It's only the image, the projection of love and light. But we're not seeing the underbelly. We're not seeing, I mean, we do, but like we have to accept everything for what it is, and that is the duality. That's everything, and that's, and my vision, it was, because like I always ask myself, could I see my visions in English? Because it's always in code. It's always in some type of code or cryptography, or like ASC2 Braille. So it's always that type of like mathematical communication, which is how I feel if an ET was going to reach out to you, it would be like they're doing with me. So I don't believe anyone that's talking about, Chris, like this, and what are they communicating to you in mathematics? Because if they are, then I'll listen to you. So, exactly. So that's what I mean. Like, if someone has to do with physics, mathematics, I'll fuck with you. Electricity, understanding that, this becomes highly scientific. If you're talking about the science, then maybe I'll listen. But a lot of it seems like copy paste, Google searches, and, like and voiceovers by robots.
Well, how do you get that
You get it by, again, going into yourself in that lucid state, in that hypnagogic state.
And that doesn't take any Google searches.
But the vision that I saw was, and I was asking if I could see it in English, because it was always in mathematics. And then what happened was, I saw a line, and it was like a few lines that they wrote to me, whatever, this quantum computer that I'm accessing, maybe, the server.
Yes.
Which I believe that all interdimensional beings are also uploaded on. I don't think it's just us on this. And they were basically communicating in English, and I have really bad eyesight, so like I'm always squinting. So like when I'm in my third eye visions, if I can't see something, I'll squint my third eye. Like I'll because it's like this bad habit of like squinting. So I'm like squinting my third eye, and the only word I could catch was evolution.
Oh wow! So we'll be like on a different. This does connect with AI and everything. It's like a super conscious.
It's a hive.
Self. Yeah, and so to have the brain able to like process this information, we have to become more intelligent. I feel like, and intelligence means is synonymous with meditation and self-awareness,
and learning
because the present moment is where all the information is. You have access to
learning how things work. Like I generally am obsessed with learning how things work and understanding things. Like really understanding. I mean, before I didn't have this awareness, I didn't have this understanding, and now I find like it's up to us to become that way, because like.
Now what about for me, a person like when you mention physics or mathematics, I have I
don't have any knowledge of anything either, but like I'm studying everything.
I mean, like I don't have any interest in it. Like I have no excitement, passion to do any of that.
You should go with what you're passionate about. That's what my visions are. That's we're living in a mathematical matrix, a number matrix. So like that's why I'm obsessed with learning more about it, because it's reality. It's
Yeah.
what we're made out of. And numbers are just like, they're basically.
Have you looked at the crop circles and see if you can find the similarities?
I have, and I do. And there
are they giving us messages on how to evolve ourselves?
I think it might be us.
And yeah, I feel like we're also. Oh crap! Yeah, I've heard that theory before too. Like I heard that's what it is.
Honestly,
humans are doing this, and some extraterrestrial, but also Gaia, and everything is giving us messages to ourselves.
There are extraterrestrials in this. I know for a fact. However, I'm my sign, I'm a Capricorn. Like I'm a very human, like I'm very into this human experience. So I don't really have a lot of, stories and contact of extraterrestrials, but I do in psychedelic trips, once in a while in dreams, but they're mostly entities.
That are like unnamed.
Sometimes unnamed, yeah. Sometimes from like different, like we talked on our other. Oh, I'm understanding my dreams so much more now. Like, remember I talked to you, my first podcast with you was while I was in Germany after my dream about the devil.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I remember.
So since then, I've had a dream with the devil. I've had a dream about that movie, They Live. Yeah, I had a dream
John
about
Carpenter, great movie.
Roddy Piper. And did you see that interview where he was like, he was programmed and he had to be like he had to sell his soul and like crazy shit?
I heard about that.
Yeah, no. So like he's like, and he died after, like mysteriously, like I think of like cancer or something, like really young. But anyway, so I had a dream about that, and then I had a dream about the Illuminati. And it's just like this underlying theme is exploitation, self-exploitation, the exploitation of other, the exploitation of the earth, the exploitation of everything, and the consent that we give for that exploitation to happen.
Well, that makes sense. And this is what you're getting from your dreams. Like, do you interpret your dreams, or is the information just like raw and you like get it immediately?
It's telepathic. So basically, I just look at something and I get all the information about it. And I look at something and I get more information. And it comes in stages of, again, my awareness. So like I got so much information because I decided to get out of the situation I was, and I took a huge leap of faith to just live in my truth. That's why I was given that information. And I've been continuing to just live in my truth, and I've been constantly getting the same message. That's why I said the message is really dark, but we could change it.
Yeah, that's right. We have to look into that the tree.
Yeah.
The roots have to go into the darkness, the hell. So that I can reach to the heavens.
Some people feel like that's hopeless and whatever. I feel that at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. It's all, it's all a freaking game. It's all like virtual reality.
We'll move into some other existence. We don't, but yeah, we can change it. And I feel my role. See, that's what I feel like my state of being, there's no anxiety at all for me.
Mm-hmm.
Very little anger. I can sense a bit of anger when I'm like having a conversation with people, but it's not like, fuck you. It's like, haha. It's weird. It's not like the normal. Anyway, I want to see if I can bring this like state of being to people of bliss and joy, so they're more able to not care about these seemingly negative looking dark concepts, so they can actually explore this shit. And then once they explore it, we can actually create. We're doing it now, by the way, but more people will have less fear to do what you just did, what other people have done. Take the dive, and then maybe even a deeper dive than like go
it's
and like start a new commute, like
it's
with
always
the
more
a
like,
new system
I
that makes
find
the other one
there's
irrelevant.
always more that we have to do. Like once we start like patting ourselves on the back, it's like you've bought into your own bullshit. You know, so
Yeah.
like I always I feel like that's why I love psychedelic people, you know, because like they get it. There's just this fear and look within their eyes that they've seen too much.
Yeah.
And they
And
know the truth, and it's far more wild, and there's so many rabbit holes, and it's literally everything is
it's
possible
great.
and
Yeah,
everything
it's
is
fun.
happening.
It is exciting. I like the universe so far. And I was going to say, I had a dream also
Tell me.
a while ago where there was like I was sitting there on my bed, and I was in the dream world, but I was on my bed. I looked outside the window, and there was the Death Star there,
What?
and a giant Death Star. And I was like, "Oh shit! The whole world is going to die. The whole world." And then I thought, "Oh wait, that means I'm going to die." And I died, and I died, and then after I died, I went into some sort of weird DMT realm again. I was like super conscious, and I saw this like wheel, this like cosmic wheel, spinning around and around. And I was like, "What is this?"
I've seen. Oh my god! I've had the exact same vision. Like seriously, like my devil vision. That was it. But okay, it was the same thing. But instead of a wheel, it was a clock, and it was ticking.
Yeah. Oh wow.
It was ticking, and there was extraterrestrials. Like there was like ETs.
Yes.
And like the sky was weird, and it was the end of the world, and I was in like I say this story all the time. Like I was in a boardroom. It was in this like high rise in Manhattan, and I'm sitting in a boardroom, and I didn't understand the vision then, but I definitely understand it now, and it's all about you and selling out and and what you're gonna do for fame and glory and money and this is the human experience. And I was in a boardroom, and the devil was in the suit,
of course,
in a $10,000 suit.
Yeah.
And the extraterrestrials are like, "We've got a message for you. You guys are fucking up. Get your shit together." Like, and there was this clock, and I was seeing my subscriber count go all the way up, and it was the end of the world scenario, and I was just like, "Fuck."
Wow, that's awesome. That's an amazing.
Yeah,
dream.
and
it like makes things so clear.
It's exact. Now we understand, but before I was like, I don't understand. But then I had the Illuminati dream, and it was the same thing. It was about human exploiting humans, and it was a spiritual thing. Number one, there has to be some type of multi-dimensional beings that are also doing, you know, something here. But at the same time, it felt like, yeah, like, so the Illuminati dream was the same thing, and it was the devil. I've been seeing the devil over and over and over and over. It's Lucifer. It's the light bearer. It's
Archetype.
It's an archetype, exactly. And
what does the devil represent to you?
It represents to me the bondage to the illusion. It represents
just like the tarot card with the chains, but they're like loosely fit around their neck.
I saw
because
the
they
tarot.
Can easily slip them off.
I saw the tarot in my dream. So I saw the devil in his suit, and I kind of was freaked out because the devil was black, and I was like, why the fuck would the devil be black? That doesn't make any sense at all to me in my head. Because I'm like, what the fuck? But I feel that was a point on globalization. We have to understand that this is a global thing, that we're it's not just a white man, it's not just a this man, it's a globalization thing where people think that they deserve more because they're above other people.
Right.
That's all that is, and that's a disease when someone's that narcissistic that they're just like, everybody else is beneath me and I have to buy people. So, that's basically what it is. So I was in that boardroom, and again, the Illuminati dream was the same thing. I was in a hotel, And I was having dinner with these bankers, and they're like, "You're really special, blah, blah, blah. We can help you. You're an artist, we can help you. But you got to join our club." And I was like, and it was a spiritual thing. Again, there's no like blood contracts or what. I don't believe that. I don't, that's not my experience.
It's just a simple unconsciousness. Like, you don't know what you're actually
doing.
Getting yourself into.
Yeah, exactly. You don't understand.
Because you're not going by your own principles. You're like, oh, money.
Yeah, you don't have any core, belief systems, any morals, any integrity. You just don't understand that. And you don't understand how important you are and how much you can change the world for good. If you want to exploit people and exploit the situation and exploit children and bad things that are happening for views, then you're part of the problem. If you're not giving anything, bringing something to the table or like doing something, it's just making money. People don't have that awareness.
So what would you say to people that are like getting anxiety right now because they're like realizing, oh shit, I have to change myself now.
Yeah.
You have is there a light at the end of this tunnel an assurance that what you are going to do will be, the universe will support you in your
Here's the thing. I find that it's up to you. It's up to you. I find everything is you. You get yourself into something, you have to get yourself out of it. You have to pick up, like, my visions have been helping me understand that, like, I can learn certain things. So, like, your visions can be about humanity, but then also they can be about you. Like, sometimes you have to improve yourself and you have to get yourself in a situation where you could take care of yourself. Like, that's one thing I've been, like, my visions have been all about, for myself, learning software. And, so, like, in my dreams, I will be learning how to use software.
Yes.
Or I will be on the internet in my dreams. Or in a third eye vision. So, like, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not really afraid of technology. I already think this singularity already happened. I mean, it's just... It's already, they're already part of our lives. Artificial intelligence is already part of our everyday lives. We just don't know it.
Right.
That's the thing. We're not aware because we don't look at things like that. We just look at the product of that.
Yes.
And, so, like, everybody's watching all these YouTube channels. How do you think they put the information in front of you? Artificial intelligence.
Right. That's why I always go back to, like, I want to see, I know it's this right now, this is obviously positive. Like, people are going to click and they're going to be like, yes. They're going to expand their mind. And it's going to have a positive effect, no doubt. Way better than whatever's on TV. I always go back to, but wait, isn't there a more immediate thing I can do, like, to create the world I want? Maybe just, and there's Michael Tellinger of Ubuntu. Do you know of that? Like, a system of just trade, and that's happening right now in a city in Canada. There's no money, but still, is that
I would love
like? Is that the pinnacle? Obviously, it's just the way we interact with each other is the most immediate thing.
I don't know. Like, I think that, again, like, when I see how globalization has taken over places like India that were, doing things in their culture in a different way. Even the banking systems in Saudi Arabia are changing. Remember, they couldn't have zakat. I mean, they couldn't have, not zakat, taxes or a principal on money. Like, everything is changing. Why? Because corporate interests.
Yes. And what do you think?
And that. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Well, I was going to say something really.
So
I never talk about this on the podcast. So go on.
Yeah. So when you see, like, I've been to Pakistan, like, where my dad's from, And like when I used to live there as a child, it was like a village. Now, I went back when I was like 25. There are freaking billboards everywhere, buildings everywhere. It's a huge city. And
Yeah.
like there's a huge like again, it's just like here. You know, like that's what I mean. Those cultures are trying to become Western, are trying to become this global elite. They don't care about their culture anymore. Just like we in America don't care about anybody. We just care about
Right.
ourselves. We don't care about the homeless people around. We don't care, you know, about people in third world countries. We don't care. And like they are like when I was in India, I literally saw a child, the whole entire family was on the floor. This was in Indore. I was at what's his name? Osho.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
Osho?
I was staying with a friend and we were at Osho and we were just walking to get some food and I saw this whole entire family on the streets and this baby dead practically with flies all over it. His belly was malnourished and rich people just walking, you know, don't
Right.
stepping over the body, nobody cares. That's just like
That's
New
what I mean.
York.
Yeah, that's what I mean from immediate like awareness. It's like, oh, we'll vote someone in, like
I
not in
don't think
India,
we
of course, but like in
can.
America, the same thing. We'll like, oh, we'll just vote someone in, and then they'll help the
Yeah.
people.
No,
But like, is there something we can immediately do? Like, oh, so with all these
I think
systems
that
and
we
beliefs
should.
that we have, like, there's people dying. Don't we have the resources right now?
Doesn't matter.
Couldn't I, as an individual, like right now, just screw this podcast thing? Now is the time for action, and I might do this. This is what I'm getting to. Like this is my struggle
Well,
right now.
what
I don't
would-
think I'm a talking person. I don't think I'm a very
Yeah.
influential, like
Yeah.
convincing, like charismatic people. Like you're very intelligent with the way you use words. Perhaps
What?
come on,
I'm
like,
just figuring this shit out.
The fact that you could have on YouTube, you're already getting subscribers and everything.
Ah,
But for
man.
me, maybe like I need to
No,
do
I think you're
something
great
that
at what you
excites me
do.
more. Like go out and
You know
like
what it is?
one of these communities and like really like start making a change. This is what I'm starting to think. I'm just
totally
entertaining
agree.
this idea because it excites me.
I totally understand what you're talking about, but with the YouTube thing, I find
Yes.
that there's a lot of competition. That's the problem. There's a lot of competition, and there's again, we're if you go down to the basic problem, it's
Yes.
basically about technology. So these, and I'm been trying to do this video, but it's been so tough. It's been so tough because
I'm excited for that video.
It's been so dark, and I'm just like, okay, so all this comes down to is people competing for your attention.
Oh, like information wars.
Yes. People basically are competing for your attention, and they're going to go lower and lower and lower down the brainstem till they get your attention. Why? Because the internet has become marketable because of advertising, and it's all about watch time, advertising, and algorithms and playlists to keep you watching, so you could keep using that technology and not use any other technology. So Facebook is competing with YouTube, and it's basically using us as
the
bait.
Conscious attention. Yes, wow.
Yeah.
I was going to say, even my animations like I made on YouTube, the reason I made an animation, I was like, okay, animation, people are going to be maybe more interested in animation, and then it's going to be like 2 or 3 minutes long, so they won't like they'll listen to my whole idea, so they won't immediately disregard it. I thought that would be something. Even I was thinking that perhaps more consciously now.
Yeah.
But do I need to manipulate? Like, do we need to manipulate like people?
But
like, is that the way? Like the Tao? Like, is that really the way to get?
Well, I don't think so. I don't personally. I think for me, what's worked is consistency, honesty.
Yes. Honesty. Yes.
Honesty and consistency, and like I have to struggle every day. You know, like even I'm a small YouTuber. Like I really am, and it's hard for us out there because we're not making any money off of this at all. Like, I've done this for a year and a half. I've yet to see a paycheck.
Well,
But it's
one of my
not...
friends donated me $11.11. That's all I've gotten out of this.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But yeah, no,
He's a cool
people, like, one person has donated like $50.
Yes,
and that was so cool. And I
showing
thank
that
them.
they care.
Thank you,
At least
by the
someone
way.
cares.
That was so awesome. But other than that, it's never been about, like, I'm lucky. My partner is amazing and he has a very good job, and like he's just he knows I'm sensitive, and I always struggle with that because I'm like, I'm never going to make money off of this. I'm never going to want to make money off of this because I will always be grossed out. Like, it's just one of those things.
What about donations? Like,
donations, yes. Donations, yes. But but here's the thing.
Everybody now go and put up a donate button.
But
and then you can get real content going if people start donating you.
No, I mean, like, I never really expect that, but like, I would only want to sell a product that I myself, like, my artwork, like, anything like that, yes, but like playing that game to get views, no. Not really. I'm not going to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, that whole side.
I was I also am lucky because I had an inheritance when I was young. I'm just living off that right now, and my mom takes care. Well, I take care of her, but I'm living in this house. Mm-hmm. I don't have, like, Skanky Mojo and Touch AC, who I have on my podcast, and I mean other people. Like, they have to have jobs. They can't. Yeah. They do their passion as much as they can. Yeah. But to take that dive.
I mean, to be honest with you, I still sometimes, like, I feel guilty. I feel guilty. I feel guilty that I don't
I understand what you mean, yeah.
You know, I feel guilty.
Because I get those thoughts, too.
I feel like a lot of people, they ask you what you do and if you make money off of it. And, like, I don't know how to respond to that because I'm just like... I do charity. That's what I always say, because I do charity. Like, that's what I do. And also, like, I was volunteering. So, like, I mean, to me, that's important. But, like, to people, it's just like, well, why don't you do anything? Like, why don't you have a job? Why don't you have a job?
And it's just society, like, the mechanism that's killing us. Why aren't you doing that?
You know, and
I'm always like upfront. Not to cut you off, but
it's fine.
I'm always upfront. I'm always like, yeah, I have a podcast. And then they ask, what is the podcast about? I'm like, spiritual, mystical topics. And then the conversation ends from there, usually, because they're like, fucking, I don't want to talk about that. Yeah. And then sometimes, I will get, those thoughts of guilt. I know it's a belief I have of self-worth. Stupid belief to have. Of course, whatever you're doing is worth it.
Oh my goodness.
Universe. But I get those thoughts. And I'm like, is there something more I can be doing? Like, am I just a leech?
Listen, this is exactly how I feel as well. And, like, that's the thing. Like, you are enough. You are enough. Like, you have to keep on telling yourself that. Like, even me, like, a year and a half later, 140 like videos later, I'm like, I'm part of the problem. I'm not doing enough. And we beat ourselves up, we just, there's only so much we can do, because look at celebrities have been talking about this shit forever. Look at it. Look at all those celebrities that do comedy, and they're always, hinting at, like, I have no fucking control. I can't change shit. And if people like that with a huge platform, with a huge fucking following, are talking like that because they're owned by the very corporation that they're talking about, and they're saying they can't change shit, imagine people, that don't have that. Like, I mean, I think that people are just, like, again, like, just really hard on themselves. But it's just like, we're all part of it. We're all part of the Matrix.
Yeah, that's right. And, like, this conversation, I'm not feeling, and I trust you're feeling the same. Like, it's actually kind of like a really healing, like, experience. Like, it's making me gain more conviction in what I'm doing. And, like, it's making me realize where I could do better. And to not take it so seriously, but at the same time, do what you need to do.
I completely understand what you're talking about. I have these anxieties every day. Like, it's so horrible. Like, I always feel like I'm dying. Always. I always do. And like
Oh,
within
right.
every single moment, like it terrifies me because I'm like, fuck, is this, am I feeling this because my grandmother's feeling that, like sometimes like I will talk to her and I'm like, why am I feeling like I'm about to die all the time? She's like, oh, probably because of me. And like, I'm thinking it's because of her, but it's like, no, like, I'm just, I'm having this psychedelic experience.
I actually, I now realize I've had that same, I was interpreting it differently though, but I get this really like excited feeling.
Yeah.
But okay, excitement and anxiety is the same energy. This is my belief, but you're interpreting it in a different way. And so I do get this really like it's kind of feels like kundalini sexual energy, but it's like vibrating so much that I'm like, what the, like I don't know what's going to happen next, so I have to release this energy somewhat. So now I completely understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I get that too. It's like it's like a feeling that like I'm going to burst or I don't know.
I
like
find
collapsed inward.
I find that like here's the thing, like I've been realizing like again with like doing this and having so much contact with so many people just reaching out to me and they all sound like us.
Yes.
Everybody has the same thing. Everybody thinks they're different. Everybody thinks
Yeah,
they're
that's
special. Right. But the truth of the reality is we're a lot similar than we think.
Oh wow.
And things wouldn't be so hard if people weren't too busy judging people.
Yeah, that's right. And like all we have to do is understand like our definitions of what our interpretations, because we're probably coming from the same
page.
We are coming
Same
from the
page.
same center,
Yeah.
the same center of being human.
Yeah. And that's what I realized. Like, I mean, it is perfection in all of its weirdness and chaos. But I don't know. It's just it's us though. It really is, and it's the evolution of consciousness. It's I feel that especially like I've been getting so much feedback from people and we have to come from like a space of what I'm giving to the world. And that's where I've been coming from for the past year and a half. It's just like, what am I going to do today to do something to help someone?
Yes.
That's where you have to be at. That's where you can start. That's where everyone can start. If they just put out something that they're proud of, or just do something for someone else, or just start acting in service too.
Yes.
That's what we could do. Or at least
that's the easiest, most expedient steps we can take is just be conscious of that. And that's could be the easy starting point for anyone listening to this that feels overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Or anything.
What I would do is I know how it feels to be so different from everybody else and like to have like some family just like in your ear and like making life difficult and being a real problem, a real pain in the neck and like dealing with that. What I do is I just go within. I go within and I don't like, I know people are in bad situations. I know that it's hard. I know that there is a lot testing us right now, but I cut it off when someone's like that. Like I'm very particular with who I have in my life. I think you should, if you respect yourself, if you love yourself, because a lot of people come with their unawareness, and that might affect you, and make you react and make you feel a certain way. So I just cut it off. Like if I see some weird behavior.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
because the more aware you are, the less unawareness can affect you.
Well, yeah, and you see a problem from a mile away. You know?
Oh, yes.
You just see, you're like, oh, there's a pattern here. You know,
Wow.
so like you just dodge, like dodge drama, like you're just dodging like all drama and like all of that nonsense because you know that's not good for you. You can feel
Right.
that, and you can feel
Yes.
manipulation, you can feel narcissism, you can feel deceit. I mean,
That's what I'm finding out too. Once it's all about being in that meditative state of being, because once you're aware, most people, they'll think this is new agey nonsense when you talk about energy in your body. No, man, no. This is
real.
This is who you are. If you feel your body, you'll immediately know what's going wrong and what's going right.
Yeah.
And when you are super present, just like you said, and you cut everything, you could say cut everything off, or you could say just be with yourself. You're aware. You have the state of mind of perfection within you that can solve any situation that you come across.
Yeah.
No matter what, and that's always within your power to have that, which is amazing.
And I also feel like, I mean, it's always testing. I mean, the
Yes,
Matrix is
you'll
always
be
testing
testing.
you.
That's
Always.
the fun part.
And like that's what I've learned from Oseron. Like that's what I've noticed. You know, there's always seems to be like you're tested, and it's just it's a joke. Everything is a joke. I don't take it seriously anymore. That's why I've been taking such a long break, you know, to process all of this information. There's a lot of information that you need to process. When you get these, like, I don't know, like, it seems like my dream space is, like, so intense, you know? That, like, and sometimes I just want to chill. Like, it's so funny. I haven't really taken a break because I've made 8 videos. And I haven't put any of them up. I'm like, fuck this. Nope.
Oh, yeah.
Nope. And I keep on doing that. And I'm like, when am I gonna freaking put up a video? It's been like 9 videos I did for 3 weeks. So like, I'm like, and like my partner is like, why are you doing videos? Because like he watches my channel. I'm like, bitch, I made 9. But it's this unworthiness, you know, like this afraid of this topic or afraid of being too much or too dark or too negative.
Yes.
You know? And it's just like,
I completely understand that, because I had just had I wasn't going to do my podcast anymore. Yeah. I was like, no, it's not helping it. Like, it's too negative. I'm too unaware. That's what I thought. Like, I'm not enlightened yet.
That's bullshit.
And yeah, I know. And then I put on my website, enlightenment is a constant state of being. That's what my belief is now. Because if I think enlightenment is an end goal, then I'm never going to get there.
Yeah.
I have to live life right now. And
here's the thing, a lot of people think that once you become enlightened, like you're this guru and you have these disciples.
The flash of lightning as the Zen.
But the thing is, it happens and then life goes on.
Right.
You know, because you are not in that atmosphere. Like, you are not a monk. You are not, like, you're not a guru, you don't have disciples, you're not in this space, so it's not gonna happen. The lightning strikes, you understand, you have this experience, and then life goes on. You have to continue being human. And, like, the number one thing that I get, and I understand this completely, why are things happening to me? You know, I'm a spiritual person. Why do things happen to me? And I'm like, because life doesn't stop giving you shit. Like, it just, you know, and like, I had that fucking mentality too when I first started. I thought, I am doing so much for the universe. I'm doing so much for people. I'm doing so much for Earth. No bad thing should happen to me because of all the good I'm doing. And then it slapped me in the face. And then I learned reality, and it has to, you know, the universe doesn't give you anything just because you're doing something. You know,
the universe is giving you that
it's
for your benefit.
well, no, it's mostly like
it's just a way to look. It's just a way to look
but
at it.
you can't like get something just because you give something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that mentality is
I
just
get that. I get that.
you know, like it has to come from a space of really, 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 really love. And then if you accumulate all of this stuff because you got it because you love it, then yes. But the universe won't give you something just because you're being good. Like that doesn't happen.
Just because you have like an ulterior, like that's the point of it. That's like the definition of a gift, which we're completely unconscious of. You give someone and you don't expect anything in return.
Yeah,
nothing.
Yeah. But like
nothing. You just you already have, by giving it, you got what you wanted.
Exactly. So like, I mean, when we think like that, and a lot of people think like that, or like I've had people talk to me and they're like, I want to be famous. I'm going to be famous because I want to do this because I want to be famous. And they're talking about spirituality, not being a rock star.
Yes.
Not being, you know, a celebrity. But they're talking about like being Deepak Chopra.
Right.
Or like they think that they're going to gain some type of success or celebrity while doing this. And I literally just laugh because what? I don't get that. Right. But like that's something
and
like,
I actually do get, like, I know I'm not like challenging you here or anyone. Yeah. But like even those people, those like the people that do these things.
But you know what? The people that do these things are very fucking transparent.
Oh, really?
I mean, like as a conscious person.
Oh, you know, okay. Like just, they're themselves aren't transparent,
they're
but
just,
you see through them because you see through yourself.
Exactly. You see through yourself. You see through everybody. It's just glass. People are glass. And like, it's obvious. You understand why people are doing what is the root of all insanity. It's the self. It's ego. It's doing for the self. It's acting in the self and exploiting others for the self. It all comes down to the same thing. Right. You know, so you understand where people's intentions are. That's why people aren't into the TV anymore. That's why people don't like laugh tracks anymore. You know, that's why people don't like a lot of certain things. It's become outdated because like when our consciousness is evolving, right? Don't you think the machine is going to evolve too?
Well, yeah.
It's going to evolve to make you feel like you're being woke or conscious or whatever, but in reality, you're still in the throes of the machine. You're still a consumer. You know, it still comes down to being a consumer, you know. And again, like that's another thing, like I've realized it's all a market. Everything is marketable. Even counterculture is marketable,
right? And so we lose the most valuable thing of all, our basic
soul.
Like inner self. Yes, our soul, that which means far more than
Isn't that
a symbol.
That, like that's what I've been like coming down. That's why things are so transparent, because you realize that it's just a market. Like once you start creating enough and doing enough videos and seeing what works, what doesn't work, like you just start realizing the game.
Yes.
You know, like just the game, and you become really grossed out. So I totally understand you on that, but at the same time, the reason why I started doing this was because, like, I had a vision about it, and, like, I got my download in DMT and then in acid, and it was like, no, bitch. And the first time I did acid was on my YouTube channel, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, live on my YouTube channel, which is crazy.
That's fun.
But that's when I got my, like, initiation into hyperspace, and it was, like, it was me feeling so unworthy, because I'm like, me? Like, what? I'm nobody, you know? And they're like, shut up, grow up. And I'm like, but I'm nothing, and, like, nobody's gonna take me seriously, you know? Like, it was just one of those moments where you really had to grow up and realize it's not about you.
Right. Wow.
So stop making it about Stop making it about you. And like, so when the nasty comments come, I don't care. When, you know, like, but I feel like my consciousness is at a point where I really don't have to deal with that. I was shocked.
Of course not.
I was so shocked and surprised at how kind people are with that Illuminati video, because I talk about some shit and like, you know, like I'm so shocked. But I find that the people that do see, like, search our videos are on another level of understanding and compassion. I find, you know, I find
that makes
that
sense.
anybody
You
that's
always attract the people that you need, that the universe, it's like an orchestration that, like, people need you. If you have a message to give, there are people that need it.
well,
Otherwise,
I mean, not even that. It's just like we have to work together. Like, I'm not the end all of this whole entire chain. And if you think about the chain of humans and consciousness, you realize that I'm just a talking head that could get to other people that could do things, or that has
yes,
seen this, or that could make some type of change or something. So it's a chain reaction of awareness, expanded awareness, you know, and just thinking of everything as a whole. Yeah, I think that things are changing, but I also believe that um, corporate media is perverting activism, you know, for profit and for relevancy, and you know, to see like, look, we're still cool, you know, we're progressive, but I think that people are finally seeing through that.
yes, and
And
that's what I wanted also. And perhaps, do you think we've talked about? But
yeah,
I feel like we are getting more awareness on this earth.
that's all
Obviously,
this is. That's all
more
this
awareness,
is.
and so the unconsciousness has to try harder and harder,
Yeah.
and it's not going to work. All the prophecies of the ancients, all the prophecies of the present day, and obviousness of our awareness is that we are becoming more aware, and we are creating this new way of interacting with people. More
And
positive, more integrative, more loving,
it
more
feels
unconditional.
it feels like, I mean, like, people aren't buying the
Yes.
thing anymore. They're just not buying it, you know, and it's becoming harder and harder and harder. I was listening to this podcast on brands and brand marketing. It was like, I think it was Tommy Hilfiger, and he was talking to his daughter, and he was saying, now if you want to create a brand, I'm not talking about 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was easy. You just sell to people. Now um, you have to be conscious. You have to have, you know, awareness, because
Oh wow, yeah,
people will not buy it.
that's beautiful. That's
People
wow.
will not buy
Oh
it.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Totally, that's totally true. Yes.
I mean, like, but it's there. You have to. He said authentic. He said you have to be authentic. So that was really intense. When I realized that, and I was like, oh, so like now you have to be real, because like, and it's always gonna be like, I mean, I
can't deceive anyone. You can't deceive yourself, and you can't deceive anyone anymore.
The truth is always like, it's there, and the people that are still in it and still chasing that dream just lack that awareness.
Well, I feel like I've heard this before, but ego is sort of a sinking ship in this coming day. Like, people who are still locked into their beliefs and won't look outside anything at all, won't even investigate what is reality, what is this all about, what is love, what does love mean, stuff like this. It's a sinking ship. They're just going to be spiraling down and down into a really unconscious awareness, and it's going to be scary. But for the people like you and me, no, we're already we're riding the wave, so to speak, and we're probably close to the top of the crest of the wave, I would say, and we're riding the wave. because we can easily dispel these, anxieties or these beliefs. We're like, oh, we learn quickly.
Yeah.
We learn quickly.
Yeah.
Most people, it takes like a whole life to incarnate to learn what we learn in like a week.
That's
or something
exactly
like
what
that.
it is. I was just talking to my partner about this, and we were saying that, like, with the older generation, they don't learn. Like, they have to keep on having that problem arise over and over and over, and it's just like they don't understand that until they get it, it will keep on coming. And that's really hard to see, I've seen that. Yeah.
That's who they're on. That's their path for now.
Well, I think that I really look to the younger generation to improve.
Oh,
things.
yeah.
I find that it's really important to nurture them and to encourage them to just do things a little bit different, I don't know. I tried to think of all the hopeful things in the world. But sometimes, like, we need to look at the state of humanity for what it is. And what it is, it's not, I talk about this in my Illuminati video. I feel like people are just gonna have to, like, be like, we're done. Like, we're done.
Right.
I don't know.
No. That might be, like, what could occur. I don't know. There's many possibilities, but there could be, like, an eschaton moment where people do just done, and things is, like, quantum from that point on.
I do believe
that's just one possibility.
I mean, it's like, I see it in, like, my friends, like, they're becoming more conscious, more aware, more aware. And, like, they don't know what the hell to do. Like, nobody knows what to do. Everybody's just looking at this shit and saying, fuck. Like, I mean, and again, like, I've been watching some kind of unconscious stuff, if you think of it that way.
I still play video games.
But, like, to me, it's learning about humans. So I don't look at it as I'm wasting my time. I'm looking at it as a window into humanity. So I was watching a lot of stand-up comedy, and I was watching all of the great comics talk about, the powers that be. They were basically, they were talking.
Like Carlin?
Yeah, exactly. And it was just like, and to some
Lenny
people...
Bruce.
Yeah, to some people, it's just like, well, you're wasting time. But for me, it's seeing that people with so much clout and so much fame and so much recognition and so much, they can't even do anything about it. Or maybe do they want to do anything about it?
I think they are doing, but they were doing. Well, I think that's their expression of.
But at the same time, it's
I see the other level to that.
It becomes, like, again, just like a figure.
Another thing.
Another figure.
Like a window, like a barrier between what really is going.
Yeah.
Like, no immediate.
Yeah.
I was going to say, though, I do, like, for me, I still go, like, I walk in the malls. Okay. I play video games, but when I do it, like you said, you like to, maybe because it's a window, and when I do it, I just like to do it because I do it consciously. Like, I want to really enjoy this, so I get the energy to do what I need to do. Everything I do, if it's not exciting, like if the existence isn't exciting and passionate and loving, there's no point to it. If your whole life is just a struggle, why even bother doing what you do? Like, then there's no point to what we're doing even. Exactly. If this is just a whole struggle, this is the whole appearance.
Doesn't that remind
Apparently
you?
They had the same issue. They had the same problem because they were fighting against everything. And they realized, we have to get light through another method.
Doesn't it remind you of, like, that Black Mirror episode?
Oh, which one? Because I haven't seen any of the new.
The old one, the last season, where everyone is just, on their bicycles and they're collecting coins, and they go on this show, and
a million or
a
like
million
10 million
exactly,
merits or something
and
like
then they
that.
go on
Yes.
the girl goes on the show and they completely exploit her sexually,
Right.
because that's what they do to women. This is how society is. And then the
Right.
guy tries to come and like say whatever, and like he gets on his shtick about the world's all fucked up and everything's all fucked up and everything, and they give him a show. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's what's
Yeah,
going
that's
on
right.
here. And then he becomes this persona.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a good point. That also was in the movie Network, and that was in the 70s, where he was raving and ranting against the world, and then that's his television show. He has a television show now of him just doing that.
That's where it goes.
And
that's where what you are. You are a commodity. You are a product.
Right.
You are a brand. Yeah.
And so that always brings me back. Well, anyways, I was gonna say,
what do we do?
Yes, I was gonna say, like, okay, how do we step out of that?
All right, yeah, that was really dark. No, but like, I mean, that's why I haven't been making videos, because it's just like,
yeah, okay,
how
yeah, that
do
makes sense.
I express this? This is so. It's like it makes me vomit. Like, this is a very dark, heavy, but my dreams have been really dark and heavy. My lucid dreams.
So my dreams have always been really weird, and I don't like them.
Yeah.
But I don't know how. Like, they used to be really blissful and exciting. Now they're not. I don't know why. Maybe it's a subconscious thing that I have to realize until it's back into the integrative state again.
Here's the thing. Sometimes they're like, when it has to do with like human shit, it's intense. Yes. When it has to do with me, I process a lot of trauma also in my dreams, where I was like, whoa, I didn't know that traumatized me that much. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize, like, I had, like, oh my God, like, anxiety. Like, I have so much anxiety from my last DMT experience, because every single time I think of that, or I can get triggered and just go into DMT space and just like be in that psychedelic space, and like that's terrifying. Or like when I'm in those states at night, I don't know if at night it happens to you as well.
Yep.
But right, and I get this like full on anxiety attack, and it's just like I need to hug someone, or I'm freaking out. Like, I have to meditate for like until it's gone. And like, my meditation has become super strong.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, I could meditate through anything, but yeah, it's been really...
that's always like bringing that. That's what I want to do, is bring that meditation state of being, where I have all the positive beliefs about that. I trust everything. Those are my beliefs right now, because they work for my sanity, so to speak, because I was schizophrenic, and whatever other beliefs did not work very well, unless you want to be in a mental institute for weeks on end.
Now, how is that for you? Because, like, I mean, personally, I find that, like, there is such a thing as just, like, how is schizophrenia to you? Was it a spiritual thing? Do you think that you were seeing other dimensions? Like, do you see you were, like, I don't understand, like, personally, I believe
it's different for everybody.
It's different
for me, like, I now differentiate. Schizophrenic would be, there's two states of being: mystical, and then schizophrenic would be the negative state of being of mystical. Mystical is like, yes, I'm enjoying connecting to these other realms. Schizophrenic is like, no, this is weird, and everything is control. I'm being controlled by hyperdimensional demons, and I'm not only that, but I'm being controlled by humans, because I'm in a mental institute where everyone thinks I'm not human, which is weird. And there's still people in those institutes right now in the hell maze. Bless their souls, they will find peace in the light. I trust a mountain of light. They will explode into ecstasy. Let's hope.
don't you think
But,
that
yeah.
like there is some truth to interdimensional beings controlling humanity, not necessarily just you? Like I feel like I've seen
Only
that.
if you believe. Only if you believe it.
I mean, I've seen that in DMT space. However, they've never actually had control over me. Like they've never done
Yeah,
they've never
exactly.
done anything to hurt me. They've never done anything physical. Like they tried actually once in a DMT experience where like there was a fire. Oh my
Yes.
god, did I tell you about that? I told you once.
Oh yeah, you did. And then you
Oh
had
my
to
god!
say
But
your-
so like that's
you
what
had
I
to say
mean.
your cat.
Like there are things out there. It's just they don't have as much control as we think they
Yes.
can.
Well, they have no okay. Well, they have as much control as you give them
Exactly.
through your beliefs or unconsciously through your actions. Perhaps you're vibrating on the same level as a demon, and so he comes to you,
Yeah.
but you don't have to interpret it that way unless you want to, that you're being controlled. You can interpret it in a positive direction, whereas it's showing you your unconsciousness, basically.
Yeah.
This is how I have to function, because if you function in any other way, you're going to go to schizophrenia world, and that's not fun. No one wants to go there.
Yeah.
That's not how you're going to make the greatest amount of change in the world, is if you think you're controlled. Of course, yes, you have conditioning. Be aware of that. But that's all that, this is all I feel. This is just my reality. This is what works for me.
What do you, I mean, I want to do an Anton Parks read again. His stuff.
What's that?
Oh my god! Do you know The Secret of the Dark Stars? Anton Parks. He talks about the Anunnaki.
Oh no!
All of that
I've
stuff.
heard of Anunnaki.
Yeah, no, like I mean, it's some interesting stuff. That's why, like, I wanted to know your opinion.
I always heard the origin of Earth.
Yeah.
Like, I do believe perhaps.
So do you think that
you can interpret it any way you want, but the most people interpret it as we were created as sort of like slaves in an essence from the Anunnaki. We were given just enough consciousness to do like whatever they needed us to do. Perhaps it was mind gold, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe more than that. And then they kind of like were sent off this world, or they got bored, something, I forget. And then now we're to our own devices, and now we are sort of like controlling ourselves by our own unconscious. And then perhaps there's other entities also that are like, we can.
You saw that octopus entity I saw. You wouldn't freaking be saying anything. Oh my god, that thing was the size of a fucking building, and it was attached to my third eye.
Oh right.
And I was just like,
I saw the Cthulhu demon from the Lovecraft. That wasn't fun, but then I came to peace with it, I guess.
You know what I feel like that is? I feel like that is all of the dark energy that we have accumulated from experiences with people.
Now that's of course, that's still within me, right? So I have a Cthulhu entity that, like, I feel has, it's a symbol of my own unconsciousness, right? Like, that's, if this entity exists, maybe, probably does, it's allowed to control me because I have so much unawareness within me. And so all I need to do is step into my power and become conscious, and then I am not controlling it. Is that right?
That's absolutely true.
And of course, but even talking about this, like talking like this, makes it feel like it has more power over me than it really does, doesn't it? So maybe wouldn't it be best not to even mention Cthulhu as controlling me and be like, no, you have your own power.
I was talking about me when I saw that freaking I saw octopus. And like it was right here. I didn't know what it was called, but like I thought it was just an octopus, and it was like literally the size of a building. It was like in my apartment, and it was huge, this thing.
Right.
And it was it had access to my mind. And I was on DMT at that time. And I was just like,
you were on DMT.
I was on DMT at that time, and I was like, oh shit, get away from me. And then like actually I gave my partner DMT and he saw the same thing. And
Oh
he
wow.
screamed and he was like, "Oh, it's right there." And I put what do you call sage? And I
Yes.
smudged
Yeah,
the
I got some
place.
sage.
And
Yeah.
as soon as I smudged the place, it was gone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't worry.
Now, I always feel like that is a permission slip. Like the sage was just a permission slip for you to step into your own power to remove that entity yourself.
Yeah.
Would that be do you like that interpretation, or is that like the meaning you're
that
experiencing?
seems about right. I mean, it's just whatever your some people need exorcists.
Yes, right.
You know, it's just like whatever
like a
your
permission slip.
interpretation of that is. But I find that it's really funny. Like even the new age movement has become this like counterculture of just, you know,
What do you
selling,
think?
you know, like crystals and meditation retreats and like all of this stuff. So like we have to understand that it's also fetishized and become a
Of course,
commodity.
yes.
So
It's
like
all
that's
permission slips. Like I feel like any tool, like tarot. Well, okay. This is just my beliefs, though.
it gets real weird, man. It gets
Yeah.
real weird, and you're just like, where do I draw the line?
I feel like everything in reality, like me as a entity, is just a belief that my consciousness has right now, and everything I use, like tarot, is a belief, a permission slip to help me understand myself more, and everything else, even our physics.
Mhm.
It's just what we're creating right now in this reality, because it's based off an automatic belief in some, like this table is just a physical. It doesn't exist unless, well, of course it exists because it feels real to me, but intrinsically there's no foundation upon which I could seep into, I can hold on to and grasp as a reality, because it has none.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's again like when you see everything for what it is, and like that's why I've been really freaking out about this code stuff, man, because
now that does it. So that do you believe there is a underlying foundation to this physical reality other than just what we're creating in our minds?
Nope. Not from my DMT experiences. Not after being pulled out of the Matrix. Because that shit I can't even describe to you. It was just like me. It was like the simulation. Like we paid to be here. Or like some really sci-fi type shit. Like we're here for a reason. We're here for a reason. We're here to elevate our consciousness to go into the stars type deal. You know?
Wow, like when you say these words, I feel like a void. Like it's not a bad feeling, but it's like a compressing of my. Like I can feel like I feel like you experience something scarier than what that's what I'm getting. Like it was more a higher energy that I'm not ready to integrate.
It was
yet.
so it made my brain crack. My brain split. It was too much. I was in trauma. Like that's why I started doing my videos, because I was like hearing voices in my head. I was seeing things.
Yes.
I was traumatized with the information that was downloaded into me. And it's some heavy stuff. And
maybe I'll experience it one day.
Oscar and I were talking about like when you know someone's seen the truth when they're just like broken, and you know when they're just broken, and like that's when you know they've seen some shit, because like any person can like, you know, thump their Bible or their crystals or whatever, but
Yeah.
they're just a little too happy. You know, like there needs to be a lack of inhibition. There needs to be no inhibition to be that, you know, to be that way. And I find once you see past the illusion, there is some pessimism, there is some darkness, but without the light, like there can't be any dark without the light. So like, you know, we have to understand things in paradoxes now, you know, in dualities now, you know, not just singular, because we're living in a binary matrix.
Yeah.
You know, so like there's two choices all the time, you know, left and right brain, black and white, sun and moon, male and female, masculine and feminine. Like, it's all in our head.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not that
Yeah.
hard to trick the person that's playing the game.
That's right.
So like that's what I mean. Like it seems to be an interstellar type. Like that's why I'm not worried about, you know, the future or whatever. It's just like I'm traveling to places in my mind. And if it's happening to me, it's happening to other people because I'm not freaking special. Don't worship me. Don't think I have all the answers. I cannot tell you anything. I don't know anything. All I know is about my experience and the collective experience and how we're fucking up and how this is half-assing it. You know, and we need to call out people because this is just half-assing it. We have done nothing. Where is the change? Where is the actual activism? You know, where are the marches? Why aren't people coming together? Like, enough is enough, and we either have to do something about it or, you know, collectively come together and, like, get off the internet and just, like, start meeting. Like, that's what you could do immediately. You can, this is what the guy said in the TED Talk was, you know, what if Facebook scheduled in a meeting with someone where you could just hang out with them and talk about ideas and talk about change and talk about doing things in the real life?
Right. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be.
Yeah, exactly.
I could learn more about that.
Yeah.
Of course, but is it unconsciousness if this is my actual feelings right now, even though everything I just said, that feels like I wouldn't be excited to do that.
I know, neither would I. No, because I'm just that type of person. I'm just like, I'm just like anxiety all the time. I'm anxiety dog. My dog has so much anxiety all the time, and like my partner makes fun of me because he's like, you're just like the dog. He's like, I'm like so anxious all the time that like, even when I put up a video, I go into a panic attack and I just like, I don't even read the comments. That's just how I am. It's like when you upload, you're like, you're fearful, and then you realize how much love you have, and then you're just still fearful, and it's just like, you just always have this anxiety.
Wow.
So like, I totally understand. Like, it's normal.
I guess, I wonder if just more pressure has to come upon me, and then I'll be like, yeah, I'm excited to do that. Maybe this is just the process. No, yeah, everything you just said makes awesome sense.
I think that, like, how long have you been doing your podcast, by the way?
Only a few years now.
Well, you're still, like, very...
Maybe.
Yeah, only a few years. Same as me. I've been doing my thing for only a year and a half. Maybe a little... year and a half.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, I find it's, like, the people that you meet...
Right.
You know,
oh my God.
The people
that's probably it. Because when I started, first of all, it was a release of like, I needed to express this shit, and then now I don't feel the need to. I feel the need to express my beliefs still, like I did with you about the control and everything. I still feel like I need to express that. Maybe later I won't. But people like, that I meet, yeah, you're absolutely, like, I met you, the Skanky like, this Native American from the Standing Rock, psychedelic people, and people that, you know, extraterrestrial and all that stuff. Everybody, like, we're coming to this realization about ourselves that it's probably just one step in the next. Maybe the next step will be we'll finally realize, oh, this is what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I feel like
But we
what I'm
already
doing.
know.
I feel like what I'm doing now is perfect right now because
Yeah.
that's all I can think about doing. And maybe I'm going to start exploring like these activists. I was talking to my brother about this very topic.
I was
and
just
I got
talking
really
to people
pissed
about
off.
this too. What were you saying?
Oh, I had a dream. Well, I wasn't pissed off when I was talking to my brother because it was exciting to talk about, but I wasn't moved to any sort of activism at all, which was weird. But I had a dream where I was like out in the public with like a sign.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it said, but I was like, we're going to stand here until people start to realize. And then I kept ranting, and then I just disappeared into nothingness. And then I woke up from the dream.
Yeah. I don't really, I don't know what type of activism I could do.
Me neither. Me neither. Some sort of awareness, something, self-actualization.
But it feels like whatever I'm doing, it's to meet certain people.
Yes.
You know, and to just be as honest and exposing everything about everything, really.
Yeah.
You know, like
I feel you're doing it. I feel like you're doing it. I'm doing it. Like we just have to keep that in mind. We're doing it the best. As long as we're doing the best we can, what more can we do?
Well, I mean,
and
it's not.
Once we become more aware of what better we can do, then we'll obviously be doing those things.
I don't feel like, I think it's all like steps, and I find like it took me a really long time to get to where I wanted to be in life, and it took me a lot of steps to get there. You know, and it's the same way now.
Yes.
Like it's like it's not about me and what I feel I'm doing enough or this or that. It's not, because like I know I'm doing as much as I can with as much resources I can, you know. Whatever money I have, I put into Quantum Kitty. You know, like
Yeah.
I've just put everything in there, not because, you know, I'm thinking about like what it will get me, but because I want to create some fucking amazing material for people that deserve it.
That's perfect. Wow, that's perfect.
So like that's what I mean. Like I find
No,
that we really beat ourselves up, and the only thing that we need to be worried about is being a better human being, being a better communicator, controlling.
That would be enough.
Controlling how do you react. Yeah, controlling how do you react to people online, maybe. Like I find like people think it's like a free pass, you know, and I've said, since I am a creator, and since I see so many comments, and honestly, like I can't even believe that I don't even have any worse comments or a huge amount of bad comments or hate or whatever, but to see that, I see that even people that think they're woke or conscious, like even they battle that. So it's like showing your humanness and being real, because like again, like with this like new age community or conscious community, whatever you want to call it, it's always about appearances and you know, appearing to be a certain way, you know, and like we're breaking that and just being human. You know, at the end of the day, I'm not an Arcturian, I'm not a Lemurian, I'm a human. I've been incarnated in a human body to have a human experience and to help humanity.
Yes.
You know, like
I could see that. Yes.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like don't ever.
That's probably the most integrative perspective to have. I feel the most immediate perspective and the one that makes the most sense. Of course, you can play around with those other ideas, but...
I mean, hey, like, I don't knock anybody that says otherwise. Like, if you think you're having whatever experience you are, yes, that's great. But I'm not going to change myself and my experiences to conform to that and say I am a starseed, this, and that.
Right.
Because, like, I mean, yeah, I have some experiences, but my experiences are mostly of the human nature. you know,
Yeah.
and consciousness and the human consciousness, you know.
Wow.
So like it's different. So like that's what I mean, you know, like that's
Yes. Of course.
you
No,
know,
yeah,
we
I
could always
totally get
talk
that.
about, you know, the past, and we go, like you said, and we could talk about Lumerians, and we could talk about this, and we could talk about Atlantis and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, we have to think about the now and what we're doing now and how
Yes.
we're being used now and how we are products or consumers now.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's the main evil that I see. If there is an evil, that's it. It's the destruction of art and beauty and the perversion of it. Like that's what we're up against as humanity, to say, are we as a collective going to buy into this illusion or
Ah,
this corporate illusion of what reality is? Because like that isn't reality. That's the propaganda that's being, you know, shown to us to make us fall for this illusion or fall for this type of activism or fall for a psyop or something like that. Yeah.
wow. Yeah, yeah. I
That's
totally get
how
that perspective.
I feel. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I understand that perspective. Yeah, totally. It makes
I,
sense.
I
And that's what
mean,
I've been doing, like learning more. Like I have
it's
I
tough, isn't it?
I like I know there's more to this world, but there's also the what's right in front of our face is probably the most important
That's what
aspect
I don't like.
of
I
this
struggle
existence
with
right now.
this. I struggle with this every day, and like my partner is always like, "But you need to be here and now. Like, don't think about like the afterlife. Don't think about your like, you know." But like, I mean, I understand that, but at the same time, it's just like that's why I talk about visions a lot, because I find as an extrasensory person it's difficult. You know, you're always going to have that deeper sense of understanding where you just can't let it go. You know,
Yes.
you just
Well, yes.
can't.
It,
Yeah.
it's all. I don't think anything in the universe is extraneous.
But everybody's coming from the same place though. Like we all see it. We all see,
Yeah.
you know, what's going on here.
Yes.
You know, and it's just like everybody's saying the same thing. Like you're either complaining on about it on Facebook, which I'm doing,
Yeah.
or
I've been
YouTube.
complaining.
On YouTube, that's what
From
I
the
do. Like
Yeah.
complain. That's like I'm like exposing no, but I'm complaining about it. Like that's what we
Or
do.
you're like the opposite, where you're like, well, everything is perfectly fine, and everything is, which is also true. But like, you can't explain everything all at once. You have to have some. You have to have a. How can you explain all perspectives at one time? We're not God yet.
Oh man, yeah, it's. I mean, that's what it all comes down to, and you know, it's really funny. I saw this. There was this one YouTube channel, and it was, I think, some doctor talking about metaphysical stuff and how basically it all comes down to advertising and using things as commodities. Like that's the evil. Like that's it. That's what I see in my visions. That's what I see in everything. It's just a perversion of life and beauty, and people
Yes.
becoming, again, like just brands, you know, like that's crazy that and we're all going to just be consumed by this material world. And again, it's at the expense of others, you know, unconsciously. And that's, again,
Yes.
that's everything in a nutshell. And we have been programmed by culture and society, because like, again, like I'll go back to my family. A lot of my family members, like, you know, I won't name a name, but
Right.
they know what's going on, but they're just still caught up in the illusion that is expected of them.
Ah,
So they
yes.
have to have that money, or else You know, they're not going to have that status. And what our culture and society has told us, that, you know, wealth is the most important thing, you know, familial wealth and all of that stuff. And like, this is not to hate on anyone, you know, like, I'm not hating on anyone, but
Of course.
this is a disease that has been created to self-destruct us, you know, to pervert us. And it's like we're always these willing participants. And that's
Yes.
basically where it comes down to how we can save things in the immediate future, by being more conscious of how we spend,
Yes.
you know, about where we put our money, about understanding that everything is a market, even this whole
Yeah.
vegan lifestyle. Okay, let's talk about the psychedelic stuff. I was talking to somebody about Vice, and how Vice has, again, made the psychedelic experience a commodity. So they actually stole a bit from a psychedelic YouTuber, and they are profiting off of it, and that person can't make any money, so they could steal that, and they create this image or projection of what psychedelia is. It's not about shamanism. It's not about, you know, the authentic experience. Again, it's about this white, single, Silicon Valley tech person, elitist, you know, type of idea. Their women aren't, you know, really they don't talk about women in psychedelics. It's always men talking about it. So again, it's this image that's being used. And again, I think uh, who owns Vice? Rupert Murdoch, and I believe Fox or Disney
Sure.
or one of those. Anyway, it's a corporation
Yeah.
exploiting people for money. Like,
And corporation means just dead
yeah,
entity. And
that's
that's
it.
what we're giving our life energy to, is just
Machines.
things that are stuck in a past.
Machines.
Machines with machine minds.
Oh my god. But
Machine
yeah,
men.
like, I know it like, that's why I haven't been making any videos. I'm like, I'm a Debbie Downer. Damn. But like, it's a reality
Oh, no.
that has to be talked about, because like, if we are consumers, like, here's the thing, even if you're not making money off of anything, you're still part of the problem. BC, because again, it's all about watch time. So like, if you're like, as soon as we sign that terms of service or terms of agreement with
Yes.
Google,
Yeah.
we're a consumer, or we're a
We
product.
are, we're agreeing
We're
to
agreeing.
what, and
Yeah.
that's based our free will, still agreeing to everything we say we are not in the vibration of.
It's a lot. It's really intense. That's why I'm just like, what? How does Samina like continue? How does Quantum Kitty like? You do it because of
You're still helping people.
because you're still helping people. Because like, I get messages all the time that says, they're like, thank you so much. Finally, somebody, finally, I can relate to you. Finally, a girl talking about this. You know, like, lots of women are just like, they don't want to watch a dude.
Makes sense.
You know, or like, I'm just like, the audience is wide, and, you know, like, but it's just like, there's only so much I can do. And like, I have that mentality of just like beating oneself up, not seeing, you know, that you're doing anything really, because like, in my mind, I'm not doing anything, but to somebody that's watching it, like, I can't even like, I don't know if that's believing my own bullshit. I hope not. But like, it makes me continue, you know, it makes me continue. Because
So
without that, I would just be like, I'm part of the machine.
Right.
I'm
And
part
you're
of the
not.
corporate machine to end civilization. Oh, if that's how I would think if I'm not like, oh my god, I'm helping someone. You know, like
That's right.
I kind of have to have that, you know, or else I'm just like, ugh, done. You know.
You can go as deep as you want, but of
Yeah.
course, like, relatively speaking, let's say, comparatively, if we want to. I mean, come on, yeah, you're of course you're healthy people compared to what, like, what's on television and stuff. Oh my god, yeah, that's all.
Psychosis.
Yes,
It's absolute psychosis. Like the things I see peddled on TV is absolute nonsense. It's you
yes,
know body shaming. It's showing women's worth as just their bodies. You know, it's on TV. I'm not saying, you know, like in actual life, but when you watch that stuff on TV, you know, it's very outdated, you know,
yeah.
and a lot of it seems like just out of touch.
Now, like, when you express these things, you also do you also keep a lightheartedness about them,
What?
like
About who?
when. Well, when I see things on advertising, I'm like aware of both sides. Like, okay, this is what everyone's choosing to buy into, but at the same time, of course, it's a manipulation of whatever the cycle, and most people already know advertisements are manipulating their psyche, but they still buy
Yeah.
into it. Now, like, if I get too serious
Mm-hmm.
and too like, God damn it, then I'm not actually uplifting anyone by creating more of what is this, like, you know, like Hitler, Nazi, just like, well, we must tear down.
Well,
Like,
I mean, I
isn't
do.
that also create, like, don't we need to come from a really to be okay? I want to ask you a question. What is it you want on the earth? Do you want lightheartedness? Do you want to create more lightheartedness, or do you find that is still like a delusion? You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. I
or do you want
find
to create more consciousness?
I
Which
find
would be like more darkness.
yeah, no,
I don't know.
I find that we have to be real with ourselves about the situation and about reality. Do I think there's complete
Ah,
bad? But no. I find that there are good things in the world. But again, it's all an illusion. It really comes back to that. We're kind of in a video game, and it kind of all
yes.
just comes to that. Don't really take it seriously. I mean, I don't.
Okay.
I really don't. I try not to, because then you're not really a fun person. Like that's a thing. Like
Right. Yeah.
you
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying.
you
Like,
know, like you can't be that person at parties. It's like, yeah, you know, the Illuminati just controls all of us.
right.
Like that's not really gonna go over well.
Right. I feel
So
like I can talk about you know, mundane trivial stuff, though. It's only to like give more lightness to this person. Like, I won't buy into. Now I'm being contradictory.
no, I mean there's some really dark shit happening, and like that's the
Yeah.
underbelly of reality. Like that's just like dark things will happen when people have a lot of power, like
Yeah.
and money, and that's really it. And but I think that all of the dark is coming to light, you know, and
Right.
I find that it's up to the people that have gone through some shit or heard about whistleblowers, insiders,
Oh yeah.
seers, everyone just come together and like fix this.
Right. Yes.
You know, like work together. Like that's why I get so pissed off, and I'm like, it's all about individual manifestation and not like this whole Oprah thing. Like my grandmother, oh my god, she thinks Oprah is God. She
Yeah.
thinks Oprah is God. And if I say, well, Oprah's a greedy bitch, you know, like she doesn't think that. Like what she's
Ah,
peddling,
yes.
what she's
Right.
peddling is this idea of having this buying into this consumer religion.
Yes.
You know, that's what she's peddling. And like that's why I don't subscribe to that, because like, you know, it's again.
I always, I guess that goes back to what, like, the Arhat Bodhisattva
Mm-hmm.
dilemma. Like, I know, like, for example, someone's like, oh, I voted this. Yes, I'm a voter. And I completely don't buy into that reality.
Exactly.
I understand why someone would buy into that reality. So what can I say anything to that person that won't piss him off? And there's nothing I can say to that person that won't bring him to another lighter consciousness, except for just listening to him like this.
Do you understand why I stopped talking to people now? I'm just like, there's nothing to talk about. Like, I keep it at very civil, you know, I keep it very light.
Yes. Okay.
But like
is your interaction with like you two, like with me, with people like me, is probably completely different from like, we won't be having this like really like bearing like conversation where like trying to understand everything. For other people, it's just like, hang in there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, like, I do have friends, you know, some of my partner's friends were like, they're activists, and they're really like, they want like, we talk, you know, and that's, I see it more prevalent now, where people are just like disgusted, you know. So like, yeah, that's where it's at. It's where people coming together, you know, and doing something about it, because like, individually we're not gonna do shit. You know, we're not, because like, everybody having their own platforms and like, you know, like, not collaborating, not working, like, it's all about making that money, you know, like, come on. We've got an earth to take care of, you know, we've got each other, and we've got a whole system that's like outdated and works against us, and like, we can't really ignore that. And I think change is hard. I think we're in those beginning stages of that change.
Real change.
Yeah.
Not superficial change on an external level. A real revolution of our consciousness.
And that's I saw it happen this year with me. Holy shit! I had to stay quiet for a bit, because like, bitch got her ass handed to her by the freaking entities, and was like, what? Oh, you think that you're not part of the problem? Here you go. Here's this lucid dream. And I was like, oh my god.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god. I died. I was like, and like, that's what I mean. Like, I got into this being very positive and love and light and only wanting to see the good stuff and all of that stuff. But then my visions told me otherwise. It's like,
of course,
nope.
Yeah.
Like, you're kind of, it's like again, like, you're not looking at the problem because you're not really affected.
Yes. Oh, wow. I understand that. And I coming into this thing, all I did was watch documentaries about the world. That's how I gained.
But that's also not, like, that's not a
like,
good idea.
Look what's happening over there. Like, oh my god, and I'm participating in this.
But even
like,
over here, like, I mean, there are a lot of poor people here. There's a lot of, I mean, there's a lot, and like, even us, like, we're supposedly middle class, but like, we save everything. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard out there. Like, and people don't realize that with
your car breaks down and your whole life is like coming to an end. Because like, how will I pay this and that and do what I love to do?
And it's like, with inflation and with, you know, everything just changing, and with globalization, and with this like, almost like oligarchy, you know, in all around the world, it's becoming scary, because it's all about the bottom line, which is the dollar, you know. And for humanity, that's not a good thing. And I never, ever, ever for a second, my mind wouldn't go there, because like, you know, like, it doesn't, but it does make sense, you know, when you see reality TV.
Yes.
And then you start looking at, you know, YouTube and reality TV, and then actual TV, and then politics, and you just say, wait a minute, there's just a whole bunch of crazy people on TV. just psychosis, just playing out. That's what I see, when I'm just like, whoa. I'm like, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy because that's not normal. Like.
The inmates have control of the asylum kind of deal.
And it's kind of just like this crazy, like, it's a crazy paradox. You just have to keep on riding those paradoxes because you're just like, what? This is crazy. Some crazy shit. Yeah.
Well, I need time to integrate everything that's said, like, to meditate upon this, because I feel like.
And like I understand where like some people talk about like how like Bitcoin can like this, and I see a lot of starseeds talking about that stuff too, light workers, whatever.
Right.
I don't think that if you take something that was originally used by libertarians, and by people that were anti-government and anti-establishment, which was the point of Bitcoin, originally in cryptocurrency, like, that's not the point now. They don't want anything to do with that. So that's all changed.
Wow.
It becomes like about like, again, money.
It's
like,
a commodity. It was a useful technology. Now it like formed into a commodity, which is just people are like buying into it just so they can get more money.
And what they're doing is they're forgetting the real reason why it was started, to be decentralized, to be anonymous, to, you know what I mean? And like now people are putting it in their portfolio. Like, no, it's become something that it was never once before. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, you start realizing that and you're just like, I don't know. I just think it's like it, again, comes back to human greed.
Yes.
It's all us.
Well, one of the three poisons, as I said before. And it's not just greed of money. Greed can be
power.
Greed of mind. Like, my mind wants to feel bliss right now. Like, I want that.
Yeah.
I want that ecstasy now. That's greed. Why are you holding on to that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like that's the thing. We always want to feel good. We always want to feel blissful. We want to always be happy. But like,
that's what I'm saying is that actually prevents you from being happy.
I mean, yeah,
is the greed. Is the greed. Because you can feel happy. Of course, state of being, yes, it's all that matters.
But that's the thing, like, I mean.
But it's the greed, delusion, and anger that's keeping you away from everything you say you want.
Exactly, because here's the thing, like, I have family over here, and, like, some of them, they're so into this illusion, they can't even have fun. Like, they're just so sad all the time. And then I have family members in Pakistan where they literally have like one dirt box to live in and the whole family, and they're so happy, and they're just so happy. Like they don't care. They're so happy, and they're just like, you know what I mean? So like, and I prefer.
It's very relative, and understanding those perspectives.
But it's not. I think that everybody has their own problems, because like, again, I grew up in like a middle class like background. I'm like, they got problems. Like, they got money, but they got problems, and a lot of them. And like, that's why like a lot of my videos is like, you can't just judge someone just because like you think that they're famous, or you think that, you know, they have all the subscribers, you think they have all this money, or you think they have. No, that's your own individual greed projecting onto somebody else.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Do you believe everything is, like, if everything is internal, do we have to make a change at all in the external?
I don't know. I think just internally. I think we just need to get real with ourselves and just start doing the right thing, even though the right thing is hard to do. Sticking to your integrity. Like, sometimes you got to turn down shit. You know, sometimes things.
Your integrity, yes,
integrity. Absolutely.
And is that different for everyone, or would integrity be? Is there a universal, or maybe just a earthly, just like a common integrity, or is it relative to everybody?
I think so. I think that they're like, I mean, truth is truth. You know,
I
like,
feel like it's the definition of unconditional love is not placing any conditions
yeah.
on anybody.
Like
and
I
that
said,
would be my integrity.
when you're giving something and you're expecting something back, like that's not unconditional.
Yes, that's not. Yes, okay, yeah. So we do have a common like
we do
ground
have conditions
that people can
sometimes.
find.
Yeah. Which is not cool, like, which is how we've been, you know, acting. And like I love to say, like, humans think they're like so amazing, but we've been acting like animals.
Yes,
You
we have
know?
the potential to be way more amazing than we are.
I think
don't we?
so. And the fact that women still have to deal with a lot of nonsense is really sad. And, you know, like, it's just, it's sad. This whole entire
Uh,
situation, it's the suppression of anything that's weaker or power. You know, it's
Yes.
the you know, pursuit of power.
Now this is a type of conversation I usually don't have. Like, well, I don't usually like make people aware of their darkness. I usually make people aware of their light, their like power and everything. But of course, what you're saying is just as useful and meaningful, and maybe even more so, of to certain people that really need to understand like what is going on right now. But I usually don't do that in my podcast because that's just who I am right now.
Yeah, but I mean, dualities,
Yes,
polarities.
and I understand both sides though easily.
Yeah.
Or what I'm.
Yeah.
And so yeah, is there any more things you want to say?
Oh
like,
man, like what else did you want to talk about that I didn't touch on, like anything?
No, I think we got around.
I mean, I know
to
it's
it.
dark, but at the same time, like, it's real.
No,
And,
yeah,
like,
no,
that's what people.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's what people are looking like.
It's a reality, yeah.
Because
it's our reality.
even people are like commenting. They're like, that shit's fake as F. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but they're seeing past the illusion, of course. If we are becoming more conscious, obviously our viewers and people around us are becoming more conscious. You know, it's not just us.
Yes.
You know, and like they're looking for to process that darkness, that trauma, that there are victims every day, every minute of abuse, of mental disorders, of trauma in any way, shape, or form, generational trauma, epigenetic memory. I didn't even talk about that. How trauma is basically like generational, like passed down from mother to child, and how this is all proven, and this is why we are being, you know, like this to create, again, that's trauma-based mind control. Yeah, it gets really, really, really intense, but, you know, once you become aware of everything and realize that, you know, all of that stuff can make you a very powerful, mystical person.
Yes.
Then that doesn't feel too horrible. You know, when we basically, when we're being birthed, it's a horrible experience to look at.
Yes.
You know, so I have to keep on reminding myself every single time. I'm like, ooh, Samina, you're too dark. I just realized, like, but it's beautiful. You know,
well, yeah, that's all I ask of anyone.
It's part of everything, really.
It's to realize that it's all part of, yeah, you're right, it makes you more conscious. The darkness is what makes you more conscious. And I mean, that's what we really need.
That's the thing, like, who's gonna deal with this if we don't?
Yes.
Like, who's gonna talk about it? Who's gonna deal with it? I don't like to exploit things like other people, but I do like to have a conversation about things. Because there's exploitation and then there's a common, you know, a conversation. There's an open dialogue. And those are two different things.
Yes.
You know? Because, like, I
I agree.
find once you start using examples and, like, make the whole entire, podcast about an event that's, horrible, or a person or a thing or a topic, then that's exploiting to sensationalize. But
I see.
if you're coming with an idea of this is what's broken, this is what needs to be fixed, this is what not even broken or fixed, healing. Healing.
Yes, right.
We come back to healing,
Because we give solutions. We're not just saying, "Oh, this is the problem, nothing to do about it." We're giving the solutions right here. Conscious awareness, meditative state. See what you're doing. See how you're deceiving yourself and others.
Exactly. This is what we're doing. This is bringing the light to a lot of just unawareness. That, again, I don't think people are bad. I just think they're unaware. That's all. That's a different thing.
That's not a judgment. Some people are more focused. Some people have a way more expanded consciousness. That's not a judgment. I don't judge my dog or my cat for being very focused consciousness.
Exactly. That's what I mean. And that's when it doesn't come from, like, I'm judging that person. It comes from, like, I don't have time for that. Like, I just don't.
That's, like, sometimes our language, like, we might think, oh, that person is judging that person for saying those words. But really, your state of being is, like, you're perfectly fine, right?
I'm just like I don't care. Like, I just don't want to deal with that because I know exactly why that is what it is. Like, it's so easy. When you see somebody for what they are, they're wearing their experiences, they're wearing their culture, they're wearing their ideology, they're wearing everything on them, and it's just like, and within a second, it's just like, again, energy. It becomes very telepathic and psychic, and it's just like, nobody has time for that bullshit right now. Like, that's what I was talking to Skanky Mojo. We were talking about how, like, the veils of illusion have been lifted and people are more conscious. And he was talking about how he wanted to, like, record everything for materialists. And I'm like, but who cares about the material? Like, like we already know. We already know how transparent. Everything is very transparent.
Yes.
Wow,
this is a wonderful conversation.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I kept you too long.
No,
I was getting into it. It was great.
This is perfect because I love these, like, deep conversations. I learn a lot about myself through these conversations. I learn, like, what I'm projecting about others and things like that. And so we need to talk more again when you need to, whenever you want to. We need to talk.
We got to do this. It's important. It's necessary for the collective to wake up to just what they can do, how they can be proactive, and how they can not deal with it, and to just control oneself a little bit more, be more conscious. Sometimes I want to leave a nasty freaking comment, and you know what I do? I stop myself.
Yes. You're conscious of your
stop
reactions.
Myself. Sometimes I'll make a really, but it'll be like, it'll be one of those.
But you won't judge yourself for that because you'll know what you did.
What I do is I'll be nice and I'll say, however, I'd like to disagree. That's all. That's how I do things. I don't have to call you names.
Perfect integration.
I don't have to be nasty. I don't have to. But if you look in at my comment section, nobody's like that. Like, everybody's like us, where they're just like, but it's like, it's a sense of awareness once you become that way. That's why I'm so thankful I started off my channel with psychedelics, as only cool ass people watch me. Like, like, only psychedelic people that get it, and they're like, I got you, I understand you. And they're not very judgmental to begin with, because we've kind of, like, been in the eye of the storm or chaos.
Yes.
So there is a humility and a camaraderie and a love and appreciation that I have, like Skanky Mojo, like you, where it's just this affinity of just, like, you find somebody that wants to help humanity, and you just love them so much, and you want to just do with them so much, because you know that, you're all soul groups here to understand how powerful we are in groups. you
Yes.
know, and yeah, I think that's why we have the experience that we have, because
Well,
everybody's
you
experience
want
is different.
you want to yeah? Do you want to tell people where they can find you, like your YouTube channel
Oh
and
yeah,
everything?
yeah, it's
Twitter?
Quantum Kitty. I
Yeah.
don't honestly, I don't really use social media. I'm not gonna lie. I
Yeah, I
suck
haven't
at
seen
it.
you on Twitter.
I suck at it. Like, you don't understand. Like, I
Pretty boring. I'd skip it. What you're doing is good.
But I do Quantum Kitty. And
Quantum Kitty on
Instagram
YouTube.
sometimes. Everything is Quantum Kitty pretty much. Even my Instagram, I sometimes put my artwork up. But yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I've been doing
This
some cool stuff.
This is really good. Like, yeah, I'm glad to have you on.
Hey Reflections, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and check out my other videos.